Landfall this morning along Florida's Gulf Coast, coming ashore near the tiny community of Steinhatchee and the Big Bend.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
We have requested a federal disaster declaration, and that has been approved.
DeSantis says the storm is roughly following the same path as Hurricane Idalia did nearly a year ago, just not as powerful.
We are looking at potentially really significant flooding that will happen, particularly in north central Florida as this storm makes landfall in Florida.
Debbie is expected to eventually stall over the coastal regions of Georgia and South Carolina. I'm Donna Water.
And forecasters say Savannah and Charleston could see up to 2 feet of rain over the next several days. The Israeli military says a Hezbollah drone attack on northern Israel wounded 2 Israeli soldiers, also sparking a raging fire.
The Iranian-backed Hezbollah says in a statement it's targeted a military base in northern Israel in response to attacks and assassinations carried out by Israel in several villages in South Lebanon. The attack does not appear to be part of a more intense retaliation expected in response to the killing of Hezbollah commander Fuad Shukur by Israel last week. The two sides have exchanged near daily strikes against the backdrop of the war in Gaza, but have previously kept the conflict at a low level, not escalating into a full-on war. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
You might want to resist the temptation to check on your 401k today. Stock markets from Tokyo to Paris, London to New York are tumbling on fears of a recession in the U.S., aggravated by Friday's dismal July employment report. Ahead of this morning's opening bell, the Dow futures down 1,246 points. NASDAQ futures off 1,054 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hello, this is Franklin Graham. Does it feel like the world is coming apart at the seams? It does to me. What do we do as Christians? Do we just sit back and let it happen, just waiting for Christ to return, and we just sit on our hands? No, we don't do that. He's called us to action. He's called us to take the gospel to the ends of the earth, and that's what we do. At Samaritan's Purse we go, and we go in Jesus' name, whether it's with a truck full of shoebox gifts or an army of volunteers ready to help wherever they can, or whether we fill up one of our cargo planes and respond to the far corners of this earth. Wherever there is a need, we go and we help in Jesus' name. Don't just sit back and wait for Jesus to return. You have one life. Make it count.
You can be a part of taking the gospel to the ends of the earth. To find out more about Samaritan's Purse and how you can be involved, go to SamaritansPurse.org. That's SamaritansPurse.org.
South African police report the rescue of 90 undocumented Ethiopian nationals allegedly kidnapped. They were being held in squalid conditions in a house in Johannesburg.
The police were tracking an Ethiopian national who'd been reported kidnapped last Tuesday when they stumbled on the group. They were all being held in inhumane conditions, tightly packed into locked rooms, according to the police statement. The 90 were taken to a hospital for medical care, and investigations are underway to establish how they arrived in South Africa. But the UN says that undocumented migrants regularly suffer from rights violations at the hands of their smugglers and local criminals. In South Africa, police say cases of kidnapping have tripled over the last decade. Meanwhile, 2 people who were found on the property were arrested.
The BBC Shanghai Nyoka in Johannesburg. Japan's defense minister has held talks with senior officials in Cambodia. The country is a top ally of China. News and analysis at townhall.com. Belgium withdrawing its team from the mixed relay triathlon at the Paris Olympics. One of its competitors got sick after swimming in the Seine.
The Belgian Olympic and Interfederal Committee said in a statement that Claire Michel, who competed in the women's triathlon in Paris, has fallen ill and will have to withdraw from the competition. The statement did not elaborate on Michel's illness, but it comes after concerns over the river's water quality. Organisers had said that bacteria levels in the river were at a level that was considered safe for the athletes. The Belgian committee said it hopes that lessons will be learned for future triathlon competitions at the Olympic Games. I'm Karen Shamas.
They have been winless for almost a month. The woeful Chicago White Sox have lost their 20th consecutive game, the major's longest skid in 36 years, just one short of the American League record. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here? I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican world radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy Monday, everybody. I know it's not Friday. I'm close. But happy Monday. It's full first week of kind of getting back into the groove of the fall and life and things. Of course, kids here in Roswell officially started last Thursday, but those first 2 days are getting settled in, and now today kind of everyone's starting the schedule. You get to school, you get there, the kids get to school, they probably start working what closely would resemble a normal class day for them, probably for the first time this school year today. So kind of a fresh day, new start, starting new things, kind of feel it, everything out there. Gonna be hot. Another day of pushing, not 100 today, 98, but it'll be 100 later in the week for sure here. So more of the hotness like we've been getting over the last week or so here. So, and be honest, I'm not really seeing much moisture relief this week. I know there's storms talking, but I guess nothing near us. But there is nothing, at least all week. That could change. It is New Mexico. You know how that rolls. But all I'm seeing is sunny and hot pretty much all week long. And today's like the only day that's like sub 100. 98 today, and then it's like 100 tomorrow. 103 on Wednesday, 104 Thursday, 101 on Friday. So hotness ensues this week. But happy Monday. Happy kind of fresh start week here. Hopefully a lot of people took advantage of tax-free weekend and all that. Lots going on in the world, more Olympics and more stuff in the world. So it's kind of a busy time for most folks. But hopefully you're having a wonderful Monday thus far. We do have a full slate for you. We're actually going to replay interview this hour and next. Matter of fact, I'll need to get the interview going here pretty quick because it's a little bit longer it's a meaty discussion. But on last week around, I think it was Tuesday last week, we had Chaves County Manager Bill Williams join us, and he invited with him State Senator-elect Pat Boone, also Chaves County Commissioner Michael Perry, and Roosevelt County Commissioner Tina Dixon join us. And we had a nice thorough discussion on the Muleshoe National Wildlife Refuge and the 7 million acres of land that's they're trying to grab from that and what's going on. And so kind of just talking details about what's going on there. So we're going to play that conversation here in just a few minutes. In the 8 o'clock hour, about 8:15, we're going to replay our interview we had on Friday with Barbara Gomez. She's a director for Main Street Roswell, and gave us an update on some things coming up and just talking a little bit about some of the work and changes and some of the things they've got going on with Main Street, looking for volunteers, all kind of stuff. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, about 9:15, we're going to have Michaela Mertz join us. She's with Pecos Valley Public Services, and she's going to join us and talk all about what they do. I kind of think of them as that they help where help is needed, where they help out in the wilderness and stuff, but they're also helping homeless here in the community doing things too. So they're pretty impressive group doing a lot of stuff, partnering with other organizations and part of the Chaves County Health Council, all that good stuff. So we'll talk with Michaela and get the skinny and how you can get involved with Pecos Valley Public Services. And that'll be about 9:15 this morning. Plus, we'll have all of your features that include the newses of the local, national varieties, Wall Street business updates, and whatever else we can come up with for this hour of the show. Like I said, we got a long one to get you going with here, so let's go ahead and dive right in with your weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Sunny and hot for Roswell today. We'll be hitting about 100, 97, and sunny at Carlsbad, about 96, and sunny at Artesia. No big changes to the weather pattern overnight with clear skies down to 70, and things look about the same for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Afternoon highs 100 to 105, and we keep the sunshine. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 72 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity's at 64%. Winds out of the southeast at 5 miles per hour. 98 and sunny for today. Winds will be out of the south at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Skies will be clear tonight. Looking at an overnight low of 69 degrees with south winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tuesday, sunny, 100 our high for tomorrow. Winds out of the south 5 to 10. For tomorrow night, clear overnight low of 69 degrees. South winds 5 to 10. Wednesday, sunny, 105 for a high. South winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Thursday, sunny, high of 104. Friday, sunny, 101. And then glancing at the weekend, sunny, 100 for Saturday, sunny, and 102 on Sunday. So hot, hot, and more hot. All right, it is 11 minutes after 7 o'clock. Looks like my Roswell Livestock Report with Smiley Wooten has loaded into the system, so we're going to play that. And then on the other side of that, we'll get you into our interview with Chavez County Manager Bill Williams, State Senator-elect Pat Boone, and County Commissioners Mike Perry and Tina Dixon from Roosevelt County. That's coming up after your Livestock Report with Smiley Wooten. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters. Happy Monday, everybody.
Good morning. This is Smiley Wooten at the Roswell Livestock Auction. A nice summer run this week. We expect to sell 950 head. Break it down like this: 200, 225 weight cows and bulls, 150, 175 pairs bred cows, 600, 650 calves and yearlings. Today's sale will include 100 plus cow-calf pairs, several smaller sets of young, middle-aged, and older pairs, mostly black, white face, Angus and Brangus cross pairs. These pairs, Angus and Charolais cross calves at side. 26 bred cows, Mr. Jimmy Vasquez, Malaga, New Mexico. Excellent quality black, white face, Angus and Brangus cross cows, bred to Angus and Hereford bulls. Cows 49 years old. 16 bred cows, Evans Eye Limited, Balmoral, Texas. Excellent quality black Brangus cows, big frame, good flesh, bred to Angus bulls, 9 years old. 32 calves and light yearlings, the Kincaid Brothers, Pinon, New Mexico. Good quality black, white face Brangus crosses, cattle weaned, thin condition, right off grass. 400, 650 pounds. 19 calves, Mr. Larry Hughes, Monument, New Mexico. Excellent quality Angus crossbred calves, they're red Angus. One round of shots, 400, 500 pounds. 19 light yearlings, Mr. Michael Evans, Hobbs, New Mexico. Excellent quality black, white face Angus crossbreds in medium condition, 500, 650 pounds. 17 calves, Escovel Ranch, San Antonio, New Mexico. Excellent quality black, white face Angus crosses, cattle weaned 60 days, 2 rounds of shots, 400, 500 pounds. Several smaller sets of high quality calves, light yearlings with condition, also 25 to 30 rope and size calves in the sale today. Sale time this morning 9 o'clock. Sale pairs bred cows 10. Be selling calves and yearlings about 11:30. We expect to sell 950 head today. This is Smiley Wooten, Roswell Livestock Auction.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. China has more English speakers than the United States. They have more Chinese speakers too. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 13 minutes after 8 o'clock. And joining us in studio this morning, I got to turn on all the microphones this morning. I don't get to do that very often. Of course, we'll start, Chavez County Manager Bill Williams back with us. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Mike.
Of course, we have State Senator-elect Pat Boone with us as well. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mike.
We have, of course, Chavez County Commissioner Michael Perry.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Roosevelt County Commissioner Tina Dixon this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. How's everybody doing today?
Doing good. We got 1/10 of an inch of rain.
Oh, last night?
Yes, I did. So I'm very, very proud and thankful.
I got 1/10 of an inch of lightning, and I think that was about it. I got a show. I got no rain. But so did y'all get up dark 30 to make your way to Chavez County this morning? Oh, not you. You were here, but you two.
Yeah, we came early.
Okay.
we met in Kenna a little bit before 7.
So has Bill got anybody breakfast? Is that
down.
like the rule, right? Like after this?
Well, it hadn't happened yet.
I wouldn't let him leave this office without committing him to a breakfast somewhere. His wife takes him breakfast every Friday, so he's due to ship it in for breakfast. So
I had about a 3-minute drive.
Yeah, I must say yours was probably not
pretty close.
Too bad there. You didn't have to do any pre-planning here. But well, thank you guys for getting up early, and hopefully you got other things to do in Roswell today.
Yes, sir.
Good deal. Let's. And I don't know if Bill, do you want to start with this, or we want one of our elected officials here? But kind of let's go with the general first, and just give people a general what we're talking about here before we kind of get into the semantics of it.
And as we've talked many times on your show, the Chaves County Commission, they're very in tune with what's going on with the lands in Chaves County. Thank you, Commissioner Perry. We have other commissioners, of course, that do that. Roosevelt County has also been a partner of ours when we come against these attacks on our way of life, Western way of life. One of the things we've been working on for a while is the 30 by 30 land grab. I believe it was 6 days into the Biden administration, they came out with a plan to take 30% of the nation's lands and waters by the year 2030. And in New Mexico, we went as far as to say we want 50% of the lands and waters in the state of New Mexico by the year 2030.
Because they don't have enough of New Mexico land
So that's a real issue for us, because already 47% of the state of New Mexico is owned by people other than private landowners. And our tax base, everything's based upon that. So the latest of our attacks, we've had the prairie chicken, we've had the lizard, we've had the Mimbres National Park down south. It's just one thing after another trying to get to these millions of acres that they want. The latest one is even more egregious than some of the others, in my opinion. I mean, they're all horrible things, and there's certainly government overreach. And we've talked a little bit in the past about the Supreme Court and their ruling on the Chevron deference and some of those things that will help us to put the federal government back into the place where they belong, so quit overreaching on all these things. But the latest thing is the Muleshoe National Wildlife Refuge is the main refuge and a satellite location, which makes up about 6,339 acres, something like that. I may be off by 100 acres, but 100 acres, not that big of a deal.
Sure.
When you consider that they are trying to push a land protection plan of 7 million acres to manage for the Muleshoe National Wildlife Refuge.
That's a huge difference.
Yeah. 6,000 to 7 million.
Yeah, so I'm not a math scholar, but I can figure that out.
And
That's
there's
a
kind of
huge
two
increase.
sides to this thing. There's the land protection plan, which is 7 million acres, and that's going to inhibit the way people use their private lands, inhibit oil and gas, mineral extraction, grazing, farming, all those kind of things that happen over there. But in addition to that, they want to acquire by fee simple 700,000 acres. So 10% of the 7 million they want to own in one way or another. And one of the ways that they try to own things is through conservation easements. That allows you to keep your land, pay all the taxes on it, but the land value is certainly less. And now we tell you, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, you can't do anything else on it because we have a conservation well, it's harder to say than I thought, easement in perpetuity. These aren't just like a 10-year agreement, and after 10 years, it goes back to you to work out the details.
Sure.
Once you sign on the dotted line, from now on, the federal government's going to tell you what you can and cannot do on your land. So that's the gist of the entire thing. 7 million acres for a 6,000-acre wildlife refuge that was set aside to protect migratory birds and crane. And Commissioner Perry here has a long, distinguished career with New Mexico Game and Fish, as well as the State Land Office. He made some inquiries and found out that they don't feel that crane are imperiled in any way. So that's another thing. Why are you trying to lock up 7 million acres?
They're trying to lock up with facts
if
that
that's
are not
the case?
facts, basically.
The other part of this particular deal is the state of Texas is a huge part of this land grab that they're trying to pull off. The state of Texas only has 1.7% federal lands in it. So they're not really used to the attacks by the federal government. They've got a wildlife refuge here or a national park there, and everybody, this is nice. We can go out to those things.
Absolutely.
They're not used to places like New Mexico, Nevada, Utah, where, as much as 90% of a state is taken up by the federal government, only leaves 10% tax base to take care of things or to provide for the common good.
Sure.
And so the Texans haven't been in these same fights as us. We've been working with them. We went to a meeting which others talk about. I need to quit talking and let some other people talk. But we're trying to work together as a team, as we have here in southeastern New Mexico, on a variety of things, trying to work with the counties over the state line and try to bring them up to speed on the.
And that's kind of where our elected officials are coming in and reaching out, talking with their officials and saying, hey, this is what we're dealing with here. We need your support. And I guess hitting in Congress and on the federal level here is kind of where we're going with, right? Is that kind of what's next?
Right. Well, my greatest concern out of many with this thing is the economic impact that it's going to have.
Sure.
I've been told, well, all you think about is money. Well, it's about time we think about the economic well-being of our agriculture sector of our
You want to keep feeding people, you got to figure out a way to do it. And this is where it happens.
Our burgeoning population, besides our natural growth, whoever you want to listen to, we've got from 8 to 20 million new citizens that have come in over the last 3.5 years. And we need to be thinking about putting land back into production instead of taking land out. Mm-hmm. And we go past that point, and it worries me. This land goes into those conservation easements, and, of course, they're free will. I mean, there's nobody making you do it. And it's your land, and you can do with it what you want to. But whenever you take it out of production, takes it off the tax rolls. Mm-hmm. I don't know all of the incidents about that, but I do know that it reduces what tax money that it will draw.
Absolutely.
I also know that whenever that happens, less jobs are going to be around, less people around, schools struggle, communities struggle, and before you know it, it's just gone.
Sure.
And that's what really greatly concerns me about this.
Absolutely. And I have a question, because and if I'm correct, if I'm wrong, because this is my understanding, is when the federal government takes over this land and starts dictating what can be done and not done, what generally happens is obviously they push out human interaction altogether and almost let the land go back to wilderness. And that's my understanding. That's what happens and we've already seen the impact of when that happens already in the forest and everything else. Right. So I'm almost like, not only are you trying to, for what you're claiming is create more, protected land, but you're trying to protect land that's already had man's fingerprint on it.
Right.
And when we leave, you're going to make things worse. We need we need the spotted owl. You're talking about, we're destroying. Guess what? We destroyed their hunting grounds because we just let it overgrow. And this is the kind of stuff, man's already there. And now, correct me wrong, but that's kind of some of the stuff we're talking about too, is you're basically just taking all ownership and maintenance of the land and just letting it go back to the wild.
And how quick they get to that is hard to say, because, everything starts out kinder and gentler. And then as time goes on, but there's a huge push right now for conservation. The BLM, Bureau of Land Management, is doing a conservation rule to trump multiple use on federal land. So if you say, well, I'm going to set this land aside for conservation, which in essence is preservation, and there's a difference between those two, but the federal government, conservation is using something to conserve it, not necessarily preserve it in its permanent natural state, as they tend to try to do in the forest.
Sure.
There's the national old growth rule in the forest where that's exactly what they're doing. They're wanting to let those forests just sit like they are and let nature take its course. Well, we've seen what happens when nature takes its course. Very recently here, they want to do the very same thing with the BLM by calling it a conservation rule, but really it's preservation rule. But as time goes on, what we've seen is that they allow less and less and less stuff to happen on those lands, and so it takes it out. To hit on the other point that Pat made too, is the federal government, when they take over lands, first thing they do, and you and I don't have this option, is they give us a payment in lieu of taxes, which is nothing more than a negotiated discount. If you go to the county assessor's office, Mike, and say, you know what, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll give you $3 for every acre that you allow me to keep here, that I've got set in this particular type of thing.
Right.
They're going to laugh you out of, probably call the sheriff and ask him to help you out of the building. But that's essentially what the federal government does. we've got 1.2 million acres in Chaves County, which is 31.33% of our county is federally owned, and we get $3.45 an acre. It's a negotiated discount. The other side of that is they're a bad tenant. They don't always pay their bill. Depending on what else comes up, if it's not funded, if it's not budgeted, they don't even pay that. So it's hard to build the roads, hospitals, schools, all those things that we need if we don't have the money to do it.
It's that uncle that keeps borrowing money from you and never pays you back here.
But on the other side of this too, so when they do this, they're doing it the same way with the lesser prairie chicken, or you can pick any one of them. We also now have the new Sentinel landscape thing that was just introduced to our area about 2 months ago. So with that, it's a conservation easement for water. However, if it's all about water, then why can you not build a house or build a fence or corrals or anything on your property after that? Again, it's also in perpetuity because all of these are. Well, that is forever.
Well, and this kind of, if you look at, this is like the big picture, like you're saying, it's, we've been fighting the lesser prairie chicken, the sand dune lizard, this never ends. This will, when it's one thing, we beat one, they're going to throw the next thing. And now it's this land thing. And if you look at it, it's really all I personally think it's this shift. You look at the world we're living in, they want to make everybody drive electric cars and all this other thing. And I'm like, this is the shift. They're deliberately taking away the oil and gas side to make you relying on electricity for cars, and which, okay, we could make those arguments all day, but if we're not logistically even ready to do that, why are we doing that now?
Well, and let's not eat beef. Let's eat some pink slime somewhere.
This is what I'm saying. This isn't about land and stuff. It's about getting you to do this
control.
And to do this
it's
and
about
to do
control.
this. And that's the part that I think people need to wake up and realize.
Because all this is taking out agriculture and it's taking out oil and gas.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're taking out the agriculture that they're doing with this, you're going to take all the seed, whether it's the Milo or whatever. Well, then you're going to have less endangered species because they don't have anything to eat.
Absolutely. Well, and here's the thing, too. When we get into these endangered species, it's like, they're not endangered. They're just moved.
Exactly.
Commissioner Perry has a really good, interesting story about lesser prairie chicken and the previous farming that took place. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
I'm not a very old man, but when I started in 1995, I started working as a game warden in that country, that Mill and Sand Tatum country. And as I drove through there, I just saw abandoned farms everywhere, all up and down that highway. There was abandoned farms, and there used to be gas stations. There used to be business. There used to
town.
be a school bus stop. There used to be a lot of things. And I remember asking my sergeant, because he was from the big town of Arch, New Mexico. I think they had 26 people back then. And now it's down to about 4.
City boys.
But he was, indicating that they went into this conservation reserve program. Soil bank, it's changed a couple of times, but basically they were paying a lot of farmers not to farm. And when you do that over a couple of years, you might not fix your tractor, and then you may not need a tire, and then you don't need a school bus stop, and your kid's not going to school there, and then it just kind of dries up. And then when I showed up 20 years later, there's a great horned owl or a barn owl living in the old house. And I would look at it and go, that wasn't very productive to the business side of things or the people of that community.
Yeah.
But from a wildlife perspective, the chicken numbers have really, really gone down. I mean, they've taken a hit. And I really think they were at a artificial high back in the days when they were dryland farming and doing that over there anyway.
Sure.
However, chickens made a living off of milo and grain crops, and they were doing very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it created that artificial
Took away their
high.
food.
And to be honest with you, what wildlife doesn't benefit off farm production? And that gets me into really thinking about the why of things. Why are we doing this? Why are they asking? And I think Ms. Dixon touched on that a little bit. They're trying to hurt a little bit of the farm. They're trying to hurt a little bit of the gas and oil. And why are you trying to do that? Because in the name of the crane, because cranes are doing okay. Crane numbers are up. Crane production is up. Hunter numbers are up. Harvest rates are up. Cranes are not down. Why are you doing this?
Sure.
What's going on with this?
And to this extent, 7 million acres.
Yeah, 7 million acres is a little overreaching to me, and
it's a lot.
And then I also on the money end of things, I kind of go into why are you using our money, our tax money, to go do this? Where are you getting the money from?
Absolutely.
And what we heard, and there's been a bill introduced, I think federally, that they were using duck stamp money. So hunters are basically paying for this, which is not cool because I'm a hunter. But the duck stamp money, ironically, when I was in game warden, you didn't even need a duck stamp to hunt a crane. So they're taking money derived from migratory waterfowl, and they're using it to try and buy property or easements from landowners or the landscape that wasn't even in the intended purpose of the money.
Pretty slick.
So it's fair to say I think most of us have trust issues with the federal government,
Absolutely.
and I'm certainly one of those people.
Absolutely. And that's the thing too. And this is something I know Bill and I have said this 1,000 times on this show, where this is always that thing about where instead of listening to the people that actually live on the land, work the land, know the land, understand the land for generations, they are just pretty much, these decisions are literally being made by people that have never set foot in this, have never seen anything more than maybe some pictures on the internet or a map.
Well, and more than that, Mike, this latest thing, they said that they had full support of the local governments. Most of us heard about this, what was it, February the 26th when they released the plan?
Mm-hmm.
Most governments had no idea that this was going on. Now, they may have made a backroom deal, here or there. I don't know.
Sure.
But our county governments didn't know. The Texas counties didn't know. Our states don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's something, and this is now that, you're going to be stepping into office here in a couple months officially.
Yes. Sir.
Where's the state on this? Like, how much? I know we got our counties fighting, and we're going to talk to Texas. Where's our state at? Where's our governor at on this? Where are they even? I know the answer, but I'm asking anyway. Why are they not defending New Mexicans here?
Well, I think our state government is in lockstep with the federal government on this thing. You made a really good point when you talked about why don't they come and talk to the people that live on the land. I'd like to add on to what Michael said a while ago about the numbers of chickens, prairie chickens. Whenever the numbers dropped so greatly, number one, the rainfall patterns changed. I'm not a meteorologist. I'm not going to even begin to try to throw out some scientific reason, but
Read
I know
the Farmer's Almanac like the next guy.
I know it doesn't rain like it used to.
Yeah.
And then that's a great part of it. And then to use as an example, where I live at Kenna, from Kenna west to the river, there's a huge spot of prairie chicken habitat, Shinry Sandhills. And a lot of my family's place is in there. I don't have it anymore. My sister's got it, but there's several hundred sections of country in there that's prime prairie chicken habitat. Well, they want to blame the decline of the chicken and their habitat on oil and gas activity and upon whatever the ranching activities are going on.
Mm-hmm.
They want to blame it on development of one thing or another.
Easy scapegoat.
Well, west of Kenna, the land I'm talking about, there in the last 50 years, there's been 2 oil wells drilled on us in the 80s, both dry holes. In 94, I think this 230 kV line, transmission line, SPS put through there. That's pretty much all the development that's been done. And there's just as few.
Not that big metropolis of which they keep telling everybody that's going on out there.
And there's just as few numbers of prairie chickens there as there is further south in Chaves County and Lee County. There's just not there. And it's simply because their food sources have been removed and it doesn't rain like it used to.
Sure.
And the CRP, whenever they did plant that land, they didn't plant food species that were conducive to the survival of the chicken.
Yeah. The lay of the land going to be the lay of the land.
Regardless of that it wasn't the native grass that needed to be there.
Well, and that's just it. They're not dying off. They're just going somewhere else. Like they were kept. And if I remember when we were fighting the prairie chicken thing and they're saying it, I was like, yeah, but if you look at isn't like in Kansas or someplace, Missouri, one of those places, they were like triple the numbers.
Well, it's like you and I've talked. I go through cycles. I've always loved to hunt quail. I love quail. I love to see quail. When it's dry, you don't see quail, and you start thinking, oh, my gosh, I remember when I was a kid, there were quail all over the place. And then it rains. Guess what? The quail are back.
Yeah.
The quail, they may have bird brains, but they're smart enough to move where the food source is. It might be 100 miles north.
Maybe our conservationists, or whatever they call themselves, maybe go hang out at Bitter Lake and watch what the animals do there.
The imaginary,
and then, migratory, that's what they do.
The imaginary line for the prairie chicken is 90 miles north of the area from where they're endangered to where they're threatened is 90 miles. For a prairie chicken, I don't believe that that's a real long distance for them to migrate to. The numbers across the range, my understanding, have increased. They've increased more in the northern areas. Of course, there's pockets where they've decreased, certainly, but all the way across the range, if you take it all into consideration, the numbers have increased. Part of the problem, and the Chevron deference thing we've talked about in the past will help that, is the federal courts, when it went to the courts, they always says, well, we're going to defer to the agencies. They're the experts on this stuff, and so we're going to use their numbers. Even though we have multiple third-party private entities who've researched what the numbers are in prairie chickens, lizards, inserted endangered species here, we have other people that have come in and said, wait a minute, your data is not correct. And they'll justify their data by whatever. But the courts were allowing them to be the end-all, know-all. You've got a guy who's been in the Fish and Wildlife Service for 30 years, or coming up on 30 years. He's done nothing but prairie chickens his entire time. If he loses ground on prairie chicken, his entire, life's work is lost. So what do you think he's going to say? The prairie chickens need my help.
He's got skin to
say.
Do
they? Do they not? So that's one of the major issues that I see with this.
Absolutely.
And the Chevron deference has now allowed, they've eliminated that. So now we can actually utilize some of these third-party studies, people that aren't
independent, unbiased resources, and utilize them. Yeah.
And you can compare 2 or 3 different ones and say, wait a minute, 3 of them have the same results and this one doesn't. Maybe that's the one that should be out, not the other 3.
Absolutely.
And so
actually use science and study science and do science to what science says instead of manipulating the science to support your own agenda.
Exactly.
That's how science works. So all right, so let's ask this for the average schmo out there, listening and getting upset. Is it literally just write your elected officials? I mean, what can the average person, other than make yourself aware and vote accordingly? But I mean, is there things folks can do to kind of slow this wave a little bit?
One thing I think people need to remember is these are voluntary programs, so they say the 30 by 30 is voluntary. But you're going to have to read the fine print of those contracts. And they say that all the contracts are specifically designed for each individual.
Gotcha.
But there are certain criteria that every one of them have to meet. We've asked for that. We've asked for copies of it. Show us just, like your standard contract. I realize you're going to fill in a lot of extras. Well, they'll just tell you they don't have anything like that. But then they'll turn right around and tell you that there's certain things they have to go by. Be sure that you read that fine print and be sure that you remember what in perpetuity means because, you have this now and you think, okay, so I've got my land. I'm going to go ahead and do this conservation easement. But you don't realize that 100 years from now, when your grandkids are on there and that house that you've been living in now that your grandparents lived in that's 100 years old is going to be falling down and they're going to want to rebuild. They're not going to be able to rebuild. They're not going to be able to redo those corrals. You're not going to be able to drill a new well when your well runs dry. So you're going to have to make sure that you understand that land is going to be completely useless when you give up those rights.
Gotcha. And so you're, in essence, could be selling away your family's future.
Exactly.
Doing this kind of thing.
Mike, one thing I'll add to that is I don't think she's wrong on that by any means, but when I retired, I started a little consulting business for private landowners to favor wildlife, do wildlife enhancement projects. One of the landowners that I worked for actually entered into a conservation easement program, and as we were having an adult beverage one night, I asked him, well, why'd you do that? You're a pretty smart guy. Why did you do that? And he goes,
what convinced you?
I don't want my family to subdivide this when I'm gone, and it's really not in cattle production anymore. It's not the intended use when we got it, but at least they're going to have to keep it when I'm gone. And that was his answer. So that worked for him.
But what are you keeping in reality here?
The land was already out of its intended use.
If you can't do anything with it other than say you have it, what's worth having it? And
I think what we did learn is each one of these agreements is in contract per, right? I mean, they give you a boilerplate one, but our recommendation to the folks when we went and talked to them in Littlefield, Texas last week was just don't engage.
Just say no.
probably shouldn't even be involved.
But you can't fault the people. I mean, the federal government, without our permission, because they're supposed to go through Congress, who supposedly represents all of us.
Gotcha. So they're doing an end around, basically.
They're taking monies that they're not authorized to use, and by an end run, running around they're using those monies to buy lands and to offer more money than the market would allow. So you can't really fault a guy who may be struggling a little bit on his farm and says, you know what, if I sell him 10% of my farm on a conservation easement, I've still got 90% of my farm and I've get an influx of cash. I can't fault them. I mean, people have to pay their bills.
Sure.
But then that starts to grow. So now that 10%, there's a buffer zone now beside it. Got all this stuff. You can't use any of that. I mean, there's just one thing after another. I wanted to quickly talk, and then I'm going to try to shut up so that these other more intelligent people can talk. We went to the meeting in Littlefield, Texas, 2 weeks ago now. There were almost 700 people there. And of that 700, we had about 70 to 80 from New Mexico. So we had a good turnout. They understood. They appreciated. We had a panel. Commissioner Perry was on it. You were on it. Commissioner Bilberry was on it. We had a lot of the New Mexico folks trying to bring them up to speed on the things that we've seen.
Sure.
And Commissioner Criswell from Roosevelt County, they were on it. There were about 700 people there. And so that's one of the things that we can do, kind of the grassroots effort. We've tried to educate our neighbors that aren't as familiar with this. And they're very intelligent people, don't get me wrong, but they just haven't been confronted with this type of overreach from the government. So
they're
we
learning
feel like
of these
that's
things.
something we were able to do, is to bring everybody together, show them kind of, this is just the basic plan. Now you layer the other map with the prairie chicken, and the other map with the lizard, the other map with the sentinel landscapes, the Ogallala Aquifer, all these things on there, and pretty soon there's no lands, or very little that we have control of. And that, again, that's the whole thing. It's control of. We don't want you to control it. We want to control it. We want to control you by doing it.
And this is in the big picture. They're not going to come in and just march in overnight and gunpoint and take away everything. Right. They're going to nickel and dime you. This is how your rights slowly evolve away. And this is exactly what's happening right here. And unfortunately, there's some people that are, taking the money grab. You get it? You see it? It's not my problem anymore. And like you said, I understand that because
because we're regular folks.
Yeah,
I mean, we gotta.
But at this point, this is a bit bigger than you now. This is a little bit bigger than you. If you're that bad, I mean, shoot, talk to your neighbors. Maybe they'll buy your land.
Well, and one of the reasons we try to talk to our neighbors is, as on the state and county, I guess, perspective, we're engaged with our constituents. That's what they elected us to do.
Sure.
But in New Mexico, there's just not a federal delegate at all that you could go sit down and rationally talk about this and say, hey, this might not be a big thing, because they've already bought off on it, and the state government's already bought off on the 50.
Sure. Well, and they'll understand the impact of what's going on with it.
No, I don't think they do. But the impact that I saw is, as I've even talked, I mean, Bill and we've all been to Washington with the National Association of Counties, and we don't get in to see our legislators on the federal side because they don't take the time to visit with us.
Sure.
And this is years in a row it's been going on, to the tune that I tried to meet with one of them down here at the Institute during the Ruidoso fire, and they blew me off because they were going to go have a hamburger. It's insulting that the federal side of things just says, here, take it.
Yep.
We're going to change this definition from conservation to preservation. We're going to take unintended money, and we're going to do an unintended our purpose for this money, and then you're going to like it, and in 20 years you're not going to be able to hunt anywhere over here, and you're not going to be able to farm it, and there's not going to be any place to sell tractor tires, and it's just a bad deal. And it's the reason that it's that I like to bring up that example of mill and sand is because it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And it ain't coming back.
This is that what you talk about, more government, less government.
Yes.
The more control you give away for convenience or safety or whatever you want to call that, the bigger price you're going to pay for that down the road. And this is just small examples of that. Like I said, they're not. You're not going to have that moment where the tanks roll in the middle of the night. That's just not going to happen. It's this. This is what's happening, and it's happening right before your eyes. You got to wise up to it a little bit and question everything and understand that. And I hate to say this, and I'm as a 51-year-old man, I'm like, for the first time in my life, I'm like, I feel like my government's not on my side sometimes. And
they are not in this state.
Yeah, and that's scary, and it's sad, and like even before, look, I could agree, disagree. We could all have debates on what's right and what's, but we got to all be at the table to talk about it. That's the problem here, is not everybody's at the table. There's certain people at the table, and they're deciding what's going on, and things are happening. And this is the impact of that right now. You're seeing what's happening, and everyone wants the convenience of the food and the ability to do that, but none of them understand or get how it gets to the table, how it gets in your tank, how it gets there. And and we're telling them this is how it happens, and they keep defining. And that's really, this is what it is. And that's, you've got to fight for this. These are people that are not well versed or educated on how things are done here, trying to dictate how things are done here. And you got to stop that. And we've got to fight tooth and nail.
And this particular 7 million acres, it affects ranching, farming, oil and gas exploration, other mineral stuff. But we have the same thing on the other side of our county. We've got Lincoln County, and we've got forest issues there. Down south, I think, was 288,000 acres, the Mimbres National Monument. That can be done by presidential fiat. There's no oversight in any of that. So it's death of 1,000 cuts, and it doesn't only. It's not only grazing. It's not only agriculture. It's not only oil and gas, but it's logging. It's mineral extraction. It's uranium. It's all these things. You put them all together, and they're taking the control away from the people. They're taking the ability of people to earn a living and provide for their families, one little piece at a time. So that's a scary.
And it's all under the blanket of conservation or this or good for humanity.
We're from the government. We're here to help.
Yeah, it's all under that. And it's like, and so by default, people that don't know hear that, and it's like, well, it's for safety, then it must be good. And we're like, they would know safety if it smacked them in the face. That's kind of what we're saying here is, what's safe and what's right aren't the same things here. And that's they don't know what they're talking about. They're it's a fantasy land. It's Dr. Seuss. They want the magic thing, but they don't want how the factory that makes the magic thing to happen for them. And that's what we're talking about here is you have clueless, fanatical people thinking that we're just going to wish things into existence and make it happen. And it's just, I don't know, at least that's how I feel. I feel like it's like they think there's magic trees out here that just, there's your energy tree that just makes your free stuff.
Well, I think that brings us to a real important part, and we've touched all around this. And without moving away or trying to completely change the intent of this program, I think you said it very succinctly a while ago when you said we need to vote accordingly.
Absolutely.
I realize we're not here to plug any political activity or anything.
But we are venting a little bit, I ain't gonna lie. It feels good.
But we've got to have some different ideas, some different philosophies. We've got to change some things, and the only way we can change that is go to the ballot box.
Absolutely.
I mean, people ask me all the time, going through my campaign this spring, people would ask me questions, and I would just say, the answer is the ballot box. The answer, that's the only hope we have.
Absolutely.
And I'm not here to plug any particular thing other than I believe we need some change. And I think that's what we need to really look at hard here.
Absolutely.
Because these things are not going to work.
And we, the people, need to be smarter about where we understand things. Unfortunately, we do not live in a world where you can turn on the 5 o'clock news anymore and trust it as news. We just don't live in that world anymore. Unfortunately, we live in a world you're going to have to do your own. You're going to have to get a little smart. You're going to have to understand when someone's trying to blow smoke up your butt versus when they're trying to hit you with some real knowledge here. And you're going to have to understand people's agendas, where they come from, and that all comes into play. I mean, it always has, but now more so than ever. And that's kind of what you're saying. And how do you fix that? You vote. And you do your own research. You don't look for the latest, coolest meme on social media and think and treat that as information. That is entertainment.
And it's all done through social engineering. Like say, how can you say, preserving 30% of the lands and waters for our great grandchildren is a bad thing? You can't say that, because I think that's good. But what they fail to bring into light is that the people who've been working the lands for centuries are the ones who've been providing that for their children. It has not been the government ever that provided for my grandchildren.
Absolutely. And the people that actually have kids in the same dirt at which we're talking about here, do you really think who's going to care more about that land than how it runs? Somebody sitting in D.C. that's checking boxes, or someone whose whole life, their grandkids and their kids before them and their grandfathers and everybody else tilled that soil or dug in that dirt? They're going to know way more about. I mean, that's the part. It's like that.
That's right.
Use your brain.
That's
Does it? Who the person that's been doing it their whole life? If you're going to go buy a brand new watch, you're going to go to the guy who just learned how to make a watch last week, or you're going to go to the guy that's been doing 200 generations of watchmaking.
The guy on the corner that says, "Hey, you want to buy a watch?"
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Use your brain and think about it a little bit here.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
sometimes new is not the right thing. Sometimes tried and true. We've been humans have been existing for a long time, and they're starting to now just make up things like, "Oh, this is." I mean, it's like all of a sudden we got more than boys and girls. I mean, out of thousands of years of human history, we just got some more than that now. Come on, use your brain here a little bit, people. Sorry, I got a little soapbox.
Tell us how you really feel.
I think what you're describing is the reality of the information from the people that live the land, till the soil, and live off that land. You know, a funny little story. I guide on a beautiful ranch in northern New Mexico in the fall, and as I was looking, I actually took a picture of it and put on my Instagram post. There was these little weevils, these little worms that were crawling on the ground, and when you look at them, they were in a line going across this pasture that was probably 30 sections, and they were just in this ball, and it was just this line of these worms, caterpillar-looking things, and they were eating up the grass. And as they were gone, I thought, man, I'd never seen it. What the heck's going on here? That's weird. Asked everybody there that was guiding, and nobody's seen it. And then there was an old guy that had worked on the ranch for about 60 years, no doubt. And I said, hey, did you see all those caterpillars? And he goes, yeah, I knew it was going to happen. And I said, how did you know it was going to happen? And he said, well, we had moths this spring. And I said, well, what does that mean? And he goes, well, it means we're going to have caterpillars. He didn't really know why either,
but he knew it happened because generations.
He's smart enough to know that that's happened 4 or 5 times. That we have to prepare for our cattle, we have to prepare for our wildlife. We got to do some different rotational things because we had moths 6 months ago.
Sure, that's exactly. That makes complete sense.
That's kind of more of a cowboy logic thing, but they learn. You know, you got to learn.
But these are the people that know, and that's the people you need to trust here on these things, not the person that's got an agenda, that's looking to step to something bigger, to do something here. And that's something you have to remember. And this is where, to Pat Boone's point, is the ballot box. This is where you change that. And so, and I always tell people, don't get in that world where they tell you your vote don't matter and all that stuff. No. If you do your research and you pick the candidates that line as close to your values as human as possible there, and that's what you believe, then you did your duty as a U.S. citizen, and that's a good thing. Don't let anyone ever tell you any different. Anybody that ever tells you that, just trust them right away because they've got an agenda that they're trying to make you a part of.
Amen. Amen.
And the thing that you mentioned, or that we've mentioned many times on your show, is that the closer the government is to you, the more likely they're going to be responsive. They know you. They go to church with you. They see you at the grocery store. So your local county commissioners, your city governments, your state people, they're going to be a whole lot more responsive than anybody from Washington or anywhere else.
And to be honest, they have much more bigger impact in your day-to-day life.
And we're very fortunate in our area, southeastern New Mexico. We, like I say, multiple counties are working together on multiple fronts, trying to assure that our way of life is not overshadowed by what somebody in Albuquerque wants.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. Keep talking, and for the love of God, get Pat some help in our legislature.
Yes.
So I get back to the middle up there, at least. That'd be a huge victory.
It sounds funny, but we've been to that country that they want to do a lot of this protections on, and it's on the Texas side of things. We just drove through there twice last 2 weeks, and there's already a lot of wind turbines and a lot of production already there. And I wonder how that's going to affect that. They have a transmission lines. There's a lot of things that are already there that the crane are living with just fine.
Right.
And I go back to the crane because I like to say pay attention to the why. I don't think it's about the crane because the crane numbers are doing fine. And what wildlife species doesn't benefit from a farmer?
Exactly. At what point does growing and making things sound detrimental to the environment?
Now even the edge effect of the farms, on that edge where you got turtle grass to milo. I mean, that's where all the wildlife's hanging out.
Absolutely.
The direct benefit. So I just don't see taking that out of production is going to be helpful to the prairie chicken or
be smart.
The crane, because the crane's doing fine.
Absolutely. Be smart. People have agendas. People are trying to steer you ways and things. Don't take anything that some people say at face value without you doing your own digging and research. I would even argue, no matter how much you think you trust the source, even if you think it's a well-trusted source, trust but verify.
Exactly.
Go to.
And from what I just said, look it up. Cranes are doing fine.
Absolutely.
I'm not lying to you.
That's my point. Is people do your own research because everyone's got their own agendas. But I think once you're said and done, you're going to find out that tried and true things that have been going on. There's a reason why they're called tried and true because they've been working for thousands.
You said something that could be a bumper sticker, and you said everybody here is saying you got to vote, you got to change it to the ballot box, but maybe they should vote table to tank. You said table to tank, and I thought about that. I thought that's pretty damn.
It's not bad. Good.
That's very, very informative little summation.
Well, I give it to the world. Y'all make money with it. I certainly can't. But also in the meantime, like we said, vote. But is there some resources, bills, or place that maybe if you want to steer people to do your own digging, where's a good place to maybe start?
Well, we work with a organization out of Texas called American Stewards for Liberty. You can go online. They can bring you up to speed on the 30 by 30 land grab, many of these initiatives across the nation that are going on. And the interesting thing about the American Stewards for Liberty, one of the founders of that company's family was the first federal takings case. They owned a ranch in Nevada.
Okay.
And the federal government came in and said, we want your land. And they did everything imaginable to take it away from them until they broke that family, not unlike they're doing to the Goss family right now. And we've talked about them here in southeastern New Mexico. The federal government does not want them to ranch, and they're doing everything they can to stop them from doing it. The very same thing happened to Margaret Byfield's family. So anyway, she's dedicated her entire life to learning how the government does these things, what they're supposed to do, how they actually do them on the ground, and how to stop their overreach. Like FLIPMA, the federal, I can't remember what it is right now. It's the rules for how you acquire lands. It's the rules for how you set aside lands for other things. They disregard those on a regular basis. Same thing with the forest rules. They consistently break their own rules and say it's okay. And she is a great resource. That organization is a great resource. And we're honored to be able to work with them.
Proof that knowledge is power right there. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So that's start there.
And absolutely a real person who's been through this. It's not someone from Washington coming out here to help us do better. I mean,
not a chat GPT story created.
I mean, there's any number of things, but the more you educate yourself on this 30 by 30 land grab, and we've talked about this before, it's all social engineering. As soon as they came out with the 30 by 30 programs, what it was called, we identified that as a land grab, started calling it a 30 by 30 land grab. As soon as we did that, they changed the name to America the Beautiful. You can almost hear patriotic songs in the background every time they say America. This is for America the Beautiful.
That's a well-polished turd right there.
Because how can you be against America the Beautiful? You can't.
I know, because that's America. They get, why? Because America, that's why. Yeah.
So just be sure, just like you said, find out what they're talking about. Look it up where you can. And really, you guys need to talk, not me. I'm sorry.
No, we're
absolutely. We're about out of time. We've been going on. Is there anything that you guys wanted to say that I get sidetracked or soapboxed on? Anything we wanted to make sure we mentioned before we left this room today? Anything, Tina? Anybody?
No, but I do agree with him. Margaret Byfield at the American Stewards of Liberty. Any questions you have on conservation easements, anything like that, she is your go-to right there.
Good deal. Michael, anything?
I would just say encourage people to look at the big picture and ask why. Why are we doing these things? Mm-hmm. Why do you not allow us to trap on public land? Why do you not allow us to control predators? Why do you want to buy our private land and put it in public ownership when you got enough public land and you're not doing very damn good with it right now?
That's right.
You're doing really a poor job. If I was a guy that could fire the federal government, I would, especially a lot of the Forest Service interests. I don't think they do very well at managing the landscapes.
I tend to agree with you. I've seen government in action, and I'm not impressed.
And I worked for them for a long time. I mean,
my parents grew up federal employees their whole lives. I grew up in the federal system. I've seen their wonders of their awesomeness. But yes, you're right. Senator, any last word here?
Well, land, in my opinion, land, whether it be federal, state, or private land, I think is intended for production of food and fiber, if you will, for the population of our country. And I don't think it's intended to be in the hands of the federal government. Mm-hmm. I think it's supposed to be in the hands of private citizens that are working hard to make it productive in order to feed the world. Mm-hmm. And I just think that instead of trying to add to land ownership by the federal government, I think we need to be thinking about taking it out.
Absolutely.
And I think it needs to get into private hands.
I think our Constitution's made it so that the states generally run your day-to-day lives more than the federal government's supposed to anyway. And this is a case in point there.
Exactly.
So, thank you, guys. Thank you so much for spending time with us this morning. Greatly appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Anytime, open forum, you guys want on, please, let's reach out. We'd love to have you just to keep people up to date and informed on what's going on here.
Sure.
So thank you, guys. And thank you for your service. Good luck in the upcoming year here with certainly in January here. Good luck with that.
Yes, sir.
But thank you guys. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mike.
All right. It is 9 o'clock. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico. We'll be back on the other side of news. Don't go away.
They are, as the Biden team made a terrible deal.
They released some of the greatest killers anywhere in the world, some of the most evil killers they got, and we got our people back, but boy, we make some horrible, horrible deals.
Mr. Trump says such lopsided exchanges only encourage Vladimir Putin and others to kidnap more Westerners. Vice President Harris to hold a rally tomorrow in Philadelphia, at which she's expected to introduce her newly minted running mate. Wall Street, the Dow down 814 points. The Nasdaq is off 560 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
898.90.
A Mexican journalist, he covered one of the country's most dangerous crime beats, has been killed along with a couple of his government-assigned bodyguards.
Alejandro Martinez was shot by unknown gunmen in a car while on his way to an incident in the city of Celaya. Mexican media said he was traveling with 2 security guards who tried to fight back but couldn't protect him. Mr. Martinez was known as the Lone Ranger, had survived a similar attack in 2022. In an interview 3 years ago, he said he felt incredible pain and sadness by witnessing the damage done to the region by increasing levels of violence. More than 150 media workers have been killed in Mexico since 2000.
The BBC's Leonardo Rocha. Landslides and flooding have killed more than 150 people around China in the past 2 months as torrential rainstorms batter the country. The latest disaster, state media say the death toll has risen to 9. Townhall.com. Is AI coming after your job?
More than 300 video game performers and actors have picketed in front of the Warner Brothers studios, protesting against what they call an unwillingness from gaming companies to protect union voice actors and motion capture workers against the unregulated use of artificial intelligence. Union leaders have billed AI as a crisis for performers, saying their likenesses could be replicated by AI and then used without their consent and without fair compensation. Jason Walker reporting.
Facing the need to win the battleground state of Pennsylvania, Kamala Harris has pulled a flip-flop on fracking. The presumptive Democrat presidential nominee is now swearing off her previous anti-fracking position. 2019, as a presidential primary contender, she called for a ban on fracking. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2.
The Deuce.
Of Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell Talk FM. Happy Monday.
Yes.
Welcome to like the first full week of life back to the routine of fall, maybe?
The beginning of all things.
Yeah.
And the end of all things.
Yeah.
The first official day of kindergarten for
that's right, Hunter.
For the K's.
K lads. And lasses go out today, huh?
That was a fun little added complication this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had to make sure. There's a whole bus kerfuffle, so we had to make sure to get all the kids where they need to be. Hopefully the bus situation will be figured out this week.
Right.
Till then, boy, howdy, is it going to be stressful.
Well, and then like of all your new, I mean, like I get it, parents have multiple kids, but of kindergarten, that's where you're going to find your first new parents like taking kids to school ever. I mean, like their first time, so there's going to be that added level of what do I do with my hands?
Now, the good news is most of the time there's a good amount of prep with pre-K and Head Start and things like that. That's sort of like get the ball rolling, get parents used to the drop-off lines and following the traffic instructions and paying attention to that guy with that sign, you know, things like that. And at all points in time, if there's a kid that needs to cross the road, let him cross.
That's how it works.
Yep.
That's the rules.
School section or no, let them go.
But just reminder, 'tis that time of year. Drive slower through the neighborhoods. Yellow flashing lights, they mean something now.
And I know
when they're on.
It's harder to drive slower when everybody's in a hurry to get everybody where they need to be. But, bear that in mind. Try to give yourself enough time to leave, which I know now it's 8 o'clock. It's too late. But
right. For tomorrow.
Plan ahead for tomorrow.
That's right.
Maybe set everything an hour in advance. Like, we're going to wake up at 5:30 tomorrow morning just to get everything extra ready.
That's right. Get your Norm Macdonald dirty job, dirty work recorder and just note to self.
I don't want to live.
I was flipping channels on my thing that I flip channels with. And I ended up watching poker.
Wow.
For 20 minutes.
Why?
Because I was waiting for something to
Sebastian Maniscalco. Why?
There was something that came on afterwards I wanted to watch, so I was like,
Set your DVR, man.
No, I couldn't in this. This thing doesn't allow me to DVR. It doesn't.
Okay. So poker.
But the thing that got me, it was on Vice. Norm Macdonald, that's how old this was. Norm Macdonald was like a narrator for this thing.
Oh, wow.
Because I actually turned it on the channel and I went to do something else while I was waiting for my program. So I was in the kitchen doing my other thing. And eating, yes, it was. and then I heard Norm talking. I'm like, Norm? How old is this? But I
went kind of down a weird SNL-esque rabbit hole this weekend, too.
Yeah?
I can't remember what brought it on, but I was watching a thing on YouTube about people on SNL that we forgot about.
Mm-hmm.
And one that I'd completely forgotten about in the 80s. Did you know Damon Wayans was on like half a season of SNL?
Was he?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
There was a sketch.
Was this pre or post Living Color?
This was pre-Living Color.
Okay.
So there was one sketch that ended up getting him fired almost immediately, and it's because he added character traits. Like it was this boring Mr. Monopoly sketch.
Okay.
And he was just supposed to be a cop. But instead, he decided to throw in a very gay accent and make the cop very effeminate and kind of, fluffed up the character.
Basically half the characters on In Living Color.
Lorne Michaels was incensed. He fired him almost on the spot.
Oh, wow.
And then cleared out the rest of the cast by the end of the season. But he was the one that got fired on the spot. And he took that as like a
badge of honor.
Well, like a pebble of like, okay, all right, fire me. I'm going to go make my own whole show to show you what you're doing wrong.
With my other family.
With the rest of us, yeah.
Speaking of Wayans, he's got a new sitcom coming out in the fall.
Really? Damon?
Damon and his son, Damon Jr.
Damon Jr., yeah.
Yeah.
Who's already like a grown man.
Yes. Oh, yeah, he's been in movies and TV.
You're like, oh, it's adorable. No, he's like in his
The first movie
20s.
I can think of with him is The Other Guys.
Mm-hmm.
Is Damon Wayans Jr. is in
yeah.
The Other Guys. I think he's in others, but that's the first one I can think of
Yeah.
right off the top of my head. I think it's called Damon.
Okay.
And it's him and his son. And I saw the previews, and it looks it's they're gonna it's on CBS, and they're gonna pair it with Cedric the Entertainer's show, which has been on a couple seasons now. The Neighborhood, that's his show. That's Cedric's show.
Okay.
Well, they're gonna pair it with that, so it'll be Damon Wayans and Cedric Knight on CBS. I think it's like Monday nights or Thursday nights.
I'm so far removed from network sitcoms.
Oh,
now.
I still have a
it's
foot
like
in that world.
I unplugged from that world like half a decade ago.
Yeah, I was matter of factly, like I have a TV thing I'm trying out. It's kind of cool so far. I'm still playing with it. At some point I'll talk about it on the radio. I just haven't.
We're waiting for the statute of limitations to pass on the
Well, I'm
purchase of
decide whether
something.
I like it or not. I'm leaning towards it, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. I found a few flaws.
There's some kinks.
A few flies in the ointment there, but anyway, I'm accessing channels that are networky channels, kind of like FYI and these, and there's this one channel I came across called Laugh TV.
Oh yeah, I'll laugh.
Not familiar with it till I got on here, and they show a bunch of sitcoms on the weekends that the others don't show anymore. Like I saw marathons of According to Jim.
Really?
What else is on there? Oh, Man with a Plan. Remember that?
Yeah, I do. Wow. That was wasn't that Matt LeBlanc?
Yes.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I was like, man, I haven't seen these shows in years. I kind of forgot about them.
Laugh TV is one of those that also does like the super like old I Love Lucy and My Three Sons
Do
marathons.
they? Well, I think they've now shifted to more of 90s or early 2000s sitcoms.
And I'm trying to remember if it's Laugh or if it's another one that does Svengoolie.
Okay. Well, I didn't
Which
see
is-
Svengoolie on.
Okay, that might have been like a My or one of those other.
Well, yeah, there's a bunch, but I came across this one, and I was like, according to Jim, I didn't know that people, did that get to syndication? I guess it did. Here's some for you to watch.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of neat.
That's
So,
fun. I haven't thought about According to Jim actually, even when it was on.
right.
The ones I always mix up are still
Home Improvement. They were showing
Nice.
Home Improvement, too. I was like, wow. Not even of course, they had the Last Man Standing on there,
Mhm.
which that's shown pretty frequently on various channels.
Different
But,
places.
Yeah, then they hit Home Improvement. I was like, oh, wow. And it's different watching Tim Allen in the 90s versus Tim Allen of the
versus
2000s.
a semi woke Tim Allen. Yeah,
I guess he's got another show allegedly coming out.
yeah, I've
too.
heard it's him. I think it's him and Richard Karn.
Is it? I thought
think so.
and I heard it's what is her name? Kat
Dennings
Dennings? Yes.
from Two Broke Girls.
Yes.
Uh huh.
Like it's some kind of type of that's his daughter family thing, but I feel like they're like something like on a race team or something something very Tool Time-esque.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Shifting Gears.
There it is.
An
There it
ABC
is.
sitcom alongside Two Broke Girls star Kat Dennings. Yeah, Tim Allen and Kat Dennings are coming back to TV in a new sitcom, is what it says.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's about a race. I think they're on a race. That's why it's called Shifting Gears. I think they're like a racing family or something like that. So, anyway. So, I think it's Last Man Standing meets Tool Time.
A widower who restores cars and deals with family challenges when his daughter returns home. So it's a lot of that, like, basically All in the Family did it first.
Yeah.
It's, hey, here's a new generation's ideals, morals, and values. Let's butt heads.
There you go.
And so Kat Dennings as Meathead.
Yeah. Well, that's Last Man Standing was very much like that. That was very, people talk about that show and they're like saying, oh, it's a very conservative show. And I'm like, well, the main character is, but the rest of the family isn't. So that's kind of the dynamics of the show is, the melding of the two. So,
yeah. Hey, real quick, I want to shout out one of our viewers on our chat here.
Yeah.
Hi, Jocelyn. Just popped up Jocelyn.
She's traveled all the way from the other room.
That's right. From 2 rooms over, she's tuned in. She's really got a finger on the pulse,
That's right. Did you take advantage of tax-free weekend at all or do any of that?
Honestly, no. I didn't do any shopping. I did a little bit towards the end of the weekend, but nothing that was like school supply, because we had to have everything kind of the week before.
Sure, yeah. Kind of school had already started this time, so it was kind of a little different from folks. But yeah, I went around, got some shoes. I got some socks, man. I love my socks.
Nice.
I got like 12 pairs of these socks. And I think if I would have bought it outright, it'd have been like $60, and they were like $20 after it was all said.
Nice.
For 12 pair. And they're so, like I was wearing them yesterday. These are happy socks. They make me feel happy.
That's the thing is we're transitioning back into sock weather or sock season.
Yeah. So.
I was walking around my house like, where are all my socks?
Yeah.
I just threw them away in a fit of joy once I found flip-flops for the summer.
No, I have a bit of I don't say a sock fetish. Because that's not quite the right term, but
You're a sock aficionado.
I am a sock aficionado, yes. I love a good sock.
I'm a man who loves a good sock.
I do. Let's get the hour going, shall we? Because I'm starting to talk about socks, and we don't want to do that. We're going to get you up to date with the weather here in just a bit. Spoiler, it's hot all week long. Later on, we'll here in just a few, we're going to play our interview we had with Barbara Gomez from Main Street Roswell. She joined us on Friday. Talking a little bit about things happening there, volunteers needed, and just farmers market, a cornucopia of topics we covered. So we'll play that for you here in just a bit. Later on, we'll get you up to date with the news of the local variety. Excuse me, Wall Street business update and whatever else. Hiccups. Sorry.
Yes, indeed. Go to break so the man can lose it.
I know. I keep hiccuping. All right. It is 8:17. Here is your weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Sunny and hot for Roswell today. We'll be hitting about 100, 97, and sunny at Carlsbad, about 96, and sunny at Artesia. No big changes to the weather pattern overnight with clear skies down to 70, and things look about the same for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Afternoon highs 100 to 105, and we keep the sunshine. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 76 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 56% with winds out of the southwest at 6 miles per hour. Sunny, 98 our expected high today with southeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear tonight. Looking at an overnight low of 69 degrees with south winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Sunny and 100 for a high for Tuesday. Winds will be out of the south 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear tomorrow night with an overnight low of 69 degrees. Wednesday, sunny, 105 for a high with winds out of the south, 5 to 10. Thursday, sunny and a high of 104. Friday, sunny and 101. And then glancing at the weekend, sunny 100 for Saturday, sunny 102 on Sunday. So hot all the way around, pretty much all week. All right, it is 8:18. Let's get you, we're going to take a quick break, 3-minute break, and then we're going to play our interview with Barbara Gomez from Main Street Roswell. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Attention Roswell and surrounding areas. Is your old car, truck, or SUV on life support?
Clear.
With new new management and a whole new attitude, Roswell Ford makes trading up to a new Ford or quality pre-owned vehicle fast, fun, and easy. Upside down in your loan or stuck in your lease? Roswell Ford wants to get you released even if you owe thousands more than your trade is worth, regardless of make, miles, or condition. Right now, get huge savings with rates as low as 0% for 66 months and no payments until Labor Day. Plus, we have a great selection of low-mileage, one-owner pre-owned vehicles, all in prime condition, starting at just $10,000. Don't settle for a low-quality, overpriced clunker. Buy a quality pre-owned vehicle from Roswell Ford for a lot less. Worried about your credit? Don't sweat it. We've partnered with the most aggressive lenders that will push to approve you today, even with bad or no credit. Lower prices, exceptional trade-in values, and a better buying experience. Get on board at Roswell Ford, 821 North Main Street in beautiful Roswell, or online at roswellford.com. $15.15 per thousand finance on select new Ford models with approved credit.
Maybe your AC unit needs a little tender loving care. If you don't know where to turn, then you don't know Jack. In fact, they're downright funky. Let the boys at Fergie's Plumbing and Heating get your AC unit ice cold, just like some of my lady friends. Don't let any fool make you lose your cool. Fergie's Plumbing and Heating. If you don't know Fergie, then you don't know Jack. 622-2660.
You've heard of a Four Seasons room, but have you heard of a Four Seasons window? Jennifer here from Trustmark Roofing and Windows. It might surprise you to learn many windows are built to handle only the cold or only the heat, but not both. In Southeast New Mexico, one or the other doesn't cut it. That's why Trustmark windows are built to handle our Four Seasons climate. The scorching summers, the bone-chilling winters, and everything in between. Special glass coating blocks extreme UV rays. A stout frame prevents warping from the extreme weather changes. And insulated glass is like putting your home in a giant styrofoam cooler in the winter and keeps cold out and warmth in. And in the summer, it keeps heat out and cool in. For our Four Seasons weather, get Four Seasons windows. Call today for your no-obligation spring window assessment, 575-755-7663, or visit TrustmarkRoofPros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
Hey CVE members, have you scheduled your no-cost home energy audit? If not, it's time to sign up. Call 575-746-3571 to get your name on the list for a free home energy audit. Weather stripping, new door sweeps, minor repairs, and much more. Start saving money and keep that purchased air in your home. Central Valley Electric Cooperative is happy to partner with Green Metal Energy for this valuable audit. Again, 575-746-3571.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. 47.2% of all statistics are made up on the spot. Is this true? I'd say chances are about 50%. Here's Mike Winters.
In studio. And good morning. It is closing in on 20 minutes after 9 o'clock. And joining us in studio this morning from Main Street, Roswell, Barbara Gomez back with us. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Hey, I'm better.
Better?
It's taken a whole month to
get over
the
UFO
Festival. Well, you have this mad rush to get it done.
Sure.
It happens, and it's busy the whole weekend.
Well, it was a big success. I didn't hear anything negative. Everybody had a good time.
I think overall we had good, positive feedback.
Everybody claimed they had good turnouts at their various events around, whether it was Galacticon or downtown or
and we've heard
other things.
Positive things. Even the UFO Museum reported an increase of like over 5% increase at the museum, and they always have a huge turnout. So we kind of try to gauge.
They're probably the best measure because everyone goes there at some point or another.
Yeah, and they really keep track of numbers.
Sure.
But we've done our own type of just, doing surveys with vendors, with merchants, with the overall community. They did surveys for us. And so we're reviewing those right now.
Excellent.
But
the numbers are looking good.
I think the numbers are looking good. As far as the positives and negatives, I think the positives are outweighing the negatives.
Mm-hmm.
So that feels good. We did get a few recommendations and said, maybe you should do this next year or that next year. And so if you can believe it or not, we had our after-action meeting with the Roswell, the UFO committee.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about what we want to do for next year and how that's going to look. So we're already moving ahead on it. We're trying to start early this time, not give us 5 months, but maybe a little bit longer than 5 months.
Excellent.
So, anyway.
And anytime you have a major event like this, that's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Is the good things you enhance, and then the things that didn't work out so well, you try to find different ways to
find
do
solutions.
that. And that's true with any event. So that's normal. That's
and you
what
know you
happens.
can't make everybody happy, but you try to make as many people happy as you can.
Sure.
If it's feasible to make changes, that's
and
what
that's
you do
the
with
whole
that.
thing. We always try to get better and better each year, and so this will be things to work on for next year's UFO.
Yeah, and a big thank you to the community of Roswell, Mike. There isn't a time whenever we haven't reached out to somebody, everyone from NIMI, to Ken Burton, to people here in the community. They help us out with whatever we need.
Sure.
We had great sponsors this year, and we even had people donate in kind for our volunteers, because we get a lot of volunteers that help us out during this time. So, you have the Apisa Center, and, they go by kind of a different name that I don't usually use, but they're called Kappa Torotos Apisa Center. I hope I'm saying that.
I just always
correct.
say a pizza center.
Yeah, I always call it a pizza center. But they sent us over so much pizza to thank us, and it was all so good.
They got great food, pizzas, or what do you go to their pasta or anything else?
Yeah, they do
good?
pasta and other type things over there. But there isn't a time I haven't walked in there and said, is it possible for you guys to help us with something that they haven't done it? But right now they're featuring their Chicago deep dish pizza.
Yeah, that's their Chicago
their
style
thing.
pizza.
Yeah,
That's their
deep stuff.
signature.
So if you like that, make sure you can go by and see them right here on Main Street, right across the street from the SunWest Bank building.
Yeah.
Then we have Martine's Capital Cafe that's down the street right here on 4th Street. That's kind of a staple here in Roswell.
I would call it almost a legacy business for Main Street.
I agree with you.
As long as I've been in Roswell, which has been 20, 24, 21, 25 years now, Martine's has always been just the place people. And to this day, that's my favorite place for huevos rancheros in town.
That's right.
Go to Martine's.
It's fantastic. Not only that, I mean, one of my oldest son worked there as a busboy way back when.
Okay.
And when he comes to town,
it's generational here.
He still wants to go to Martine's. Everybody has to stop to Martine's, whether you're coming home from college, coming home to visit,
going taste of home kind of thing.
Kind of a taste of home. That's correct. So we do thank our Main Street businesses, but specifically Martine's Capital Cafe sent us over a huge tray of tacos for the volunteers.
Awesome.
So thank you, Martine's Capital Cafe.
So volunteers are eating well, thanks to Pizza Center and Martine's.
A lot of people, for sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's just get on to what's going on downtown. As you guys know, we got done with the UFO Festival, and it was a great event. It's nice and warm right now. We were kind of hoping it'd cool down, but Mike's telling us it's going to continue to be
Unfortunately, I don't have good
hot.
news there. Sorry.
But if you're looking for something to do, the gallery on Main Street, which they're located at 223 North Main Street, they're looking for a new logo.
Yes, they're having a contest right now.
They're having a contest right now. You didn't submit your original art entry. It's a 12 by 12 in person at the gallery, or mail it to the same address. They said winner's name will be included anytime the logo is used. Deadline is August the 31st. So if you're creative and you got a great idea for the gallery, let them know.
And that's a community art space there. They go see their artists, their resident artists. If you're into art or wanting to purchase art or just want to do art, you need to visit that place and talk to the folks in there.
You definitely do. Yep. And so they got a lot of things going on there. But just to kind of highlight some of the businesses down Main Street, of course, always have Sweet Baby J's right there on the corner of 4th and Main. They have delicious desserts and cakes.
Sweet treats. Yeah.
Lots of sweet treats. And so anyway, just most recently, let me make sure I'm saying this correctly, you guys. The Roswell Chaves County Economic Development Corporation held the annual gala for 2024. And so they honored a lot of people, a number of people, but I do want to talk about a few people that happen to be on the Main Street.
Some of our Main Street honorees or award winners. Yeah.
Yes, award winners. So the best of Chaves County dessert did go to Sweet Baby J's.
Well,
so if
see,
you're
not
looking, only do
we're not lying. We're not. See, proof we're not lying to you. Other people agree. So.
Yeah, so it was by popular vote.
Yeah.
So if you haven't gone by there to get something from them, it is a delicious place. Also, another place, which is kind of a local hangout as well, is Pepper's Bar and Grill.
Pepper's is a staple in Roswell.
That's
we
right.
talk about Legacy and Martine's. Pepper's is very much that same thing, and Pepper's Friday nights on the patio is kind of a tradition. And
I think they're doing it on Wednesdays as well, possibly. So
and of course their food is always a hit, no matter. And they support so many local communities, charities, businesses.
Absolutely do.
I know pretty much every historical society event we've got Pepper's as our
as our caterer.
Yeah, as our caterer, as our food provider. Now that they've kind of changed the rules at the convention center, you're seeing Peppers more and more catering events back there again. They're just kind of the unofficial
caterer
feeder of Roswell sometimes. Yeah.
So congratulations to Adam, to Robert. Congratulations to those guys. They're great. We really appreciate them.
Absolutely.
And also a business that's somewhat new to the Main Street District is Pecos Valley Productions.
Yes. They're very community active,
very community oriented, and they have supported Main Street's events since they came onto the main, to the main district.
Yeah.
So they also received an award as, I guess, a new business in town.
Well,
so
and they've gone big. They're very community minded, and obviously, with the nature of their business, there's certain things they're allowed to do and not allowed to do. So they really focus on that community efforts and giving back to the community and working into the community. And so they are a great partner.
They're
in our
a great
community.
partner in our town,
absolutely.
and we do appreciate them.
Absolutely.
And I know there was a lot of others. I just wanted to highlight the ones
Sure,
that were
the ones that
specifically
Main Street
in
kinda,
the district. Yeah. And of course, I heard you talking about the farmers market. We're back to the farmers market.
Full blown every Saturday morning.
Full blown.
7 a.m.
Gosh, you guys, if you have not been out there, I was out there this last weekend because I've been out of town. Seemed like every weekend since the UFO, but I was there.
Little R&R after UFO.
A little
Fest.
bit, yeah, a little bit of family.
Now, your
things
husband's
going.
R&R idea and your R&R might not be the same, but that's another debate for another day.
That's another conversation for another day.
That's right.
Yeah. Whenever I walk miles and it's in the hot sun and my husband takes me on vacation to the hottest place on earth.
Right.
Not exactly what I want.
I think you missed the mark on that one a little bit.
A little bit.
That's all right.
But
it was,
that's okay.
You got to see a cool thing.
Yeah, we did some really cool things. So anyway, the farmers market started July the 13th.
Yeah.
And the plan is for it to go until October the 12th.
Okay.
People are still calling me, Mike, asking me, can I be out there?
Is there still space?
Is there still space? And this year, I don't know if you noticed it or not, but they've really expanded almost all the way past the middle of the courthouse lawn.
Yeah.
I mean, they're expanding, so many people are going out there. They're becoming very creative. They're doing flavored lemonades. Of course, they always have the burritos out there.
Absolutely.
Not the food trucks, but actually cooking on the spot.
Local merchants, they're doing their things. And of course, the star of the show, produce. We got all of our farmer and gardeners and
watermelons and cantaloupes. And
I'll tell you, as I do it every time we talk about it, if you're there for produce, be there at 7. When the doors open at 7 and everything else, and usually it's pretty quiet right at 7. It's usually about 8 o'clock when everyone starts saying, "Oh yeah, we got to get up and get going."
Right.
So I highly recommend, if you're on the hunt for great produce, be there at 7 a.m. when the thing officially opens, and you're going to have pick of the litter, and you have a great selection and a great opportunity. If you wait till 11 o'clock, your selection's going to be picked through. It is what it is.
It is what
it's
it is.
It's a popular
You're
thing, and people come out and people enjoy it. And so now that being said, don't let that stop you, because there's still great food, there's still great activities. But if you're like specifics, like, no, I need my green chili or I need my whatever,
right.
You get there early.
Okra. I mean, they have so many different things out there, including some homemade chicharrones, in case you like that.
Absolutely.
Homemade jellies. There's candles out there, jewelry.
Or maybe your family doesn't do those things and you always want to do them, so now you go to the farmer's market and let others do it because you don't know how or whatever.
It's a little bit different than going to a regular event, where you're going to have a lot of food trucks, a lot of different vendors that are selling things that are, T-shirts that they bought somewhere. This is all more homemade.
Yeah, more local.
So people call me all the time and I send them over to Peggy.
Yeah, Peggy is the kind of the marshal of all of the
she's the farmers market guru.
Yeah.
She knows all the rules, what's allowed.
She's the one who designates who goes where and who gets to do, and she's the keeper of the
and to make sure that if you can use your whatever those little bucks are that you can use.
Yeah.
Not food stamps or whatever they're doing now.
EBT or whatever it is. Yeah.
Or whatever. And so she makes sure that we meet the rules so that we are able to get funding.
Stay in compliance with all that.
Yes,
stay
there.
So they can. So if you do EBT and all that, there are vendors that accept that.
They are. So
excellent.
Anyway, but that's farmers market. And as we're moving on the year, we're still working on what we're going to do with the rest of the year, Mike. We'd like to review our events to make sure that they're still relevant for us to keep doing.
Sure.
Or maybe tweak them a little bit and see what we're going to do. But I do want to tell you about a couple of things that are coming up in the district. that you'll be seeing. Hopefully by next year, they'll be up and ready to go.
Okay.
But specifically, Main Street Roswell partnered up with Chaves County, and we are working on a Great Blocks project.
Yeah.
This project is going to be called the Chaves County Cultural Plaza.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool when it's all said and done.
Yeah, when it's all said and done, it's going to be really cool. So basically, Main Street Roswell applied for a grant, received some money. We partnered up with Chaves County, and the Cultural Plaza will be located going east off of Virginia. So where the parking lot is at, right past that, there will be a plaza there.
Okay.
It is going to be really cool. It's still going to have the railroad motif to it. But it'll have trees, it will have grass, it'll have tables, it'll have a stage, sound system,
yeah, it's
bathroom.
Kind of a built-in community space.
Built community space.
With amenities and with abilities if you want to have concerts, if you want to have events.
Maybe in an art show of some sort.
And who knows, maybe this is the evolution of farmers market and things like that, where we shift it from the courthouse lawn to the cultural plaza.
Maybe, and I think
it's a potential.
It is a potential with lots of parking.
Yeah,
this is what I like.
Because that's what the thing is this logistically would allow us to provide more and do more,
right,
at farmers market and events like this.
Sure,
and quite frankly, let's face it, the courthouse lawn's a beautiful thing, and we love using it, we love utilizing it, but it is kind of expensive, that grass and taking care of it. And every time we have events on there, that's a big expense to maintain that.
That is.
And if we can shift some of that to this cultural area, maybe not all of it, but some of it, maybe that's another win-win.
But it's a great thought to do, because if you're having an event, like if you do something on the courthouse lawn and you like to really count people or measure who all came in, you really, really can't, because there is no entrance and
this
exit.
will have portals of entry, so you could control it like a festival and decide who's in and who's out, or just let it open if you need be.
Sure.
But it allows for that.
It allows for that. So you can count people if you wanted to have an event where you charge it at the door. You can do that there. So we're really excited about it.
Sure. And then when there's no events going, it's just a community space. You want to come and picnic or just spend the afternoon in the park.
Actually, no, it's not going to be open for that, Mike.
Oh, it's not?
Actually going to be open for that. So you could use the courthouse lawn for that.
Okay.
That specific area will be a locked area.
Okay, gotcha.
I mean,
okay.
they really
thought
wanted
it was be more like
no,
a park.
it's not a park at all. It's actually a cultural plaza.
Gotcha.
Like I said, you want to use it, just talk to the county.
Gotcha.
They do have some rules.
And then there'll be
about
some at the county that you book it like a party or something
like that.
Book
it or whatever. They've been very generous with Main Street and the community with these areas, and so they normally don't charge anything. They just have rules.
Cool.
You know what I'm saying? Don't have jumpies on there with a bunch of mud to ruin the grass.
Sure. Yeah. Things to ensure and maintain and keep it. Keep it. It's just like anything else. Anything is a community space. We as a community are obligated to take care of it.
That's right.
It's no different than when you go to the city splash pads or something. They want you to take care of them. You go to a city park.
Because you're not the only one that'll use them. Somebody else will use them.
And they'll be no different here.
So we're also working with the city of Roswell on what's called a wayfinding plan.
Okay.
This has been around, Mike, since 2016. So, the city puts together master plans and, plans for what we want to do in the future. And this was created in 2016. So it's a way of directing people, showing them the way to different things.
Gotcha.
Wayfinding.
Gotcha.
And so one of the big things that we're working on with the engineering department right now is gateways. We want to put gateways on Main Street.
Kind of being an actual physical marker definition defining the Main Street corridor. So, because most people don't realize Main Street corridor is more than just Main Street. It's a few blocks on either side, and it goes from, probably farther north and farther south than most people realize.
Right.
And these gateways will kind of delineate. Now you're officially entering the Main Street district.
And that's kind of what we'd like to do. And so those are things we're working on right now. We know we got a couple of grants and we got some money, and we thought, yay, so exciting. We're going to have two of them. And it's a big, giant, stop, wait a second. This costs more than what we thought. So then we're going to have to ask for more money or whatever we need to do.
Anytime there's government involved, these things happen.
Yeah. And of course, you find out about costs that you had no idea about. Like I'm thinking, oh, wow, we're staying under budget. And then I find out, Barbara, the engineering costs have not been added yet.
Yeah. And then the other thing, too, is cost of living and then COVID expenses. And so you have something in the works. And then 3 years later, it's completely outdated because all the prices are different.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
I helped out with the Kiwanis All-Inclusive Park, and when we started, from the time we got it done to the time it started and the time we got done, I just remember hearing, Barbara, that's not enough money. You're going to get a little teeny, rinky-dink park with that amount of money. You need more money, and so went after more money for that. But
and then you get more money. It's like, now you need more money because
yes,
that money went.
So hurry up and do it.
Right.
Just hurry
well,
up
see,
and
if
do
you
it.
did this 3 years ago, that would have been enough, but now it's not. So now you need more money. So yeah,
Hurry
that's
up.
that's kind of what people are dealing with in these kind of things. Yeah.
So, but it's exciting because you guys, we're working on Main Street Roswell all the time to figure out ways to make our Main Street district a place where people want to come shop, not just tourists, but locals. Some of you have not stopped down Main Street in a really long time, and I think you should. We've got Tiny Trends over here on the south. South 100 block. They've got kids' clothes.
Yeah.
We have a brand new place that just opened up right there next to Ancient of Days. They're going to be, I can't remember what they call those, Mike. Now I'm trying to think. It's kind of one of those places that you go into and have to figure out how to get out of or something.
Like an escape room or something?
Yes, escape room.
Okay.
That's what it's called. It's not completely up and going.
Okay.
But I did talk to the guys that are going to be running that, and it's going to be really cool because they have these throughout Texas.
Excellent.
And now they're going to do one in Roswell with more of an alien theme to
Excellent. And that'll serve both the tourists and locals.
Yeah.
That'll be because people look for things to do downtown. Obviously, tourists hit the thing, and, locals aren't going to want to go to the museum every day because, been there, done
they've
that,
been
got
there,
that
done that.
T-shirt. But these are things you can do. Come shop. Like you said, come eat. We got great dining establishments, whether you want a cup of coffee at Stellar or lunch or breakfast or dinner at Pepper's or Martine's or El Toro Bravo or many of the other great establishments downtown. And then, like you said, in between, you hit the shops and shop and you walk. And if you're looking for clothing, if you're looking for decor,
T-shirts, you're looking for
collectibles, whatever.
If you're looking for a gift, I mean, you can find some great gifts downtown. And then they're not all alien based. And by the way, I'm glad you said Stellar. You know what they did for us during the UFO that I thought was awesome. Anne is always very appreciative of what we do. And
Another
always
community-minded business owner.
And so she opened at the back end of Stellar, and she put ice cold water back there and tea, and invited any volunteer to go back there and take a break.
Oh, that's awesome.
And a lot of us...
Your decompression zone there.
Yeah, kind of just a little bit away off the Main Street drag right there, coming in from their backside. But they have wonderful breakfast. If you've not had their breakfast or sandwiches...
they do have more than drinks. They do have great meals and sandwiches.
And, of course, right next to them is, of course, the Moon Rock Outfitters. And in case you didn't know what Outfitters are, you might want to stop in there and see. They do bikes. They do skateboards. They coordinate bike rides. So if you have a bike and you say, I would love to go bike riding, but I don't want to go by myself.
Meet with people that do those.
Yeah, they
are
meet
into it
somewhere,
too?
and sometimes they do like a little pub run where they go different places to grab a drink, and other times they're just seeing Roswell.
That's cool.
So
and that's all in your Main Street corridor, right downtown.
Right
you just walk around, you stumble into it.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on, Mike. So we just invite the locals of Roswell to please take some time to come by downtown. Right now our focus is community as tourists, because sometimes our community doesn't see what the tourists see. And if you could see some of the feedback that I received from from people that completed the survey, many of them say, gosh, you got a gem here in Roswell. You guys have a beautiful community. And I mean, just look at the rocket that we just put on the Pioneer Plaza.
Yeah.
If you guys did not go to the opening ceremony for that, it's right there, right in front of the courthouse lawn. Just today, I saw people out there taking pictures.
Oh, yeah.
But
matter of fact, if you're going over to Martine's this morning, you can't miss it. It's right there.
You can't miss it. You can't miss it. Go to Martine's.
That's right. It's right there in Pioneer Plaza.
Then go get a picture. Then go get across the street and get a cookie.
Just a hop, skip, and a jump from the Chisholm statue right there in the plaza. Yeah.
So, but great job that Josh did. So a big thank you to Josh for all the work he put into that.
And I love that because that's going to, especially for people that have called Roswell home their whole life or been here a long time, they know that's, they know the origin of that. They know that was the slide. That how many kids, generations burned their legs on that slide at the
It never
Spring
stopped
River.
them, Mike.
Oh,
it never stopped anybody.
We did it. And then finally, it was early 2000s where that thing
think
down.
so.
It was because it was up when I got here in 2000. It wasn't around much longer, but I remember taking family to that slide and climbing up in there myself and burning my legs and going down the slide. You
just have to go down fast, right?
Exactly.
Because it was all full metal, right?
Yeah, it was old school metal. Yeah, it was. OSHA standards were a little different back when that thing was constructed.
And, fall into a pile of dirt at the bottom. Nothing really. But no, I sent a picture to my son that lives in Albuquerque and all my sons, and I sent it to them. And I said, look at this. This is your memories turned into art.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
love it.
what it is.
So I hope it's
beautiful.
there for generations to come, and they'll ask, "What's that?" And we get to tell them, "That used to be a slide in the zoo in the Spring River Park there."
Yeah,
absolutely.
It was Peppermint Park back then.
It was called Peppermint Park back in
Peppermint
those days.
Park
Okay,
back
very
then.
good.
But anyway, other than that, Mike, I don't have a lot going on that I want to talk about today because we do want to go ahead.
Yeah, I did want to ask for volunteers and serving on the board.
Oh,
or
yeah,
can you still use those kind of
I'm glad you
people?
brought that up.
Yeah.
We're always in search of volunteers. Part of our initiative with Main Street Roswell is to include the community. So if you're looking for something to do, maybe you would like to help direct Main Street in which direction we should go. We are always looking for board members.
Absolutely.
There is, a vetting process.
Yeah. Obviously, if you are a business owner in the Main Street corridor, you have a very vested interest in wanting to see your Main Street.
Yeah.
And not only would I recommend, but you should be active because at the end of the day, the Main Street owners and stuff, they're kind of the ones that kind of dictate
they
what
should help
what
to
the vibe
dictate.
is downtown and what they want it to be. And
Right. So we do have a stakeholder meeting once a month, and they were always before they were held in person. Then after COVID, it kind of became
Turned
a
to,
Zoom meeting.
yeah, virtual stuff.
And it's been kind of hard to pull people out of their Zoom area. They just want to just stay in
I
there.
get it, because
I don't either.
We
I-
all do. It's like it's bad but good,
Yeah.
because it's so convenient. But at the same time, it's not nearly as productive.
No, not really. And
Yeah.
plus, you get to know your neighbors, and they get to
Yeah.
know each other, and they give each other information
Sure.
and keep themselves.
It's a
updated.
neighborhood meeting. It should be happening
really
with face to face in the neighborhood.
I think
Yeah.
you're right. I kind of like that. The Main Street neighborhood meeting.
Yeah.
And they're called stakeholders. So if you're on the Main Street corridor, you have a stake in what happens.
Absolutely.
If you would like to be a board member, you don't have to be in the corridor. We'd like you to be in the corridor.
It does,
But,
yeah,
but if not, we have people that are not.
people that live outside the corridor or work outside the corridor have good ideas too.
Yes,
so.
they do.
Yeah.
And then, of course, if you don't want to, you don't want to direct anything, you just want to help at an event.
Sure.
Every once in a while.
Absolutely.
You can be a volunteer. So give us a call.
Sure. They're always looking for a stable of people, like when UFO Fest happens or Chili Cheese or any of our downtown Main Street events happen. There's an army of volunteers that are needed to set up tents and water, whatever is needed logistically. And if you can at least, put in the pool there and say, hey, I'd love to be in that pool. And, there's perks for it.
Yeah, you
UFO
get a
Festival
t-shirt,
volunteers get swag.
Yeah, you
and
get swag
get
and some fun
access, a lot
stuff
of
and
free food there.
free food.
Thanks to our merchants
And-
here.
yeah,
so there is perks to that. But that's what makes Main Street go. It's volunteers. It's people getting involved. With none of that, we're all spinning our wheels and just
That's
sitting
right.
here doing
That's
stuff.
right.
So get
And-
involved, serve on the board, volunteer to, like, I know they have great volunteer groups that love planning at certain times of the year, like flower and garden
we do
clubs.
we do
and
the
they're-
planting.
The planters and stuff.
Around
Get
Christmas
involved with that.
time. At Christmas time, we decorate the light poles.
Yeah.
There's a lot that we do, so please join us. And again, a big thank you to the community at large that stepped up to help us, like Keep Chaves County Beautiful. They helped us with trash. Of course, the city also helped us a lot with all
They've
of
got
that.
their accoutrement with the bags and everything, and they collect stats so to keep getting
And
more
they
free
give
stuff.
they give little pins to what Miss Rita calls, I think she calls them trash rangers. She thanks anyone that helps her to pick up trash because that's her
Absolutely.
passion. Roswell Volunteer, or is it RSVP? Roswell Senior Volunteer Program.
Another great organization.
They brought their volunteers out there and helped us sell things, helped us to set up the tents, helped us to take down tents. So, if you don't want to deal with money, you don't have to. There's a lot of other physical things.
Got a lot of labor we
hey,
can get
somebody
split.
pick this up and move it over there.
That's
or
right.
That kind
Sweat
of thing.
equity is muchly needed. So but get involved and come to the stakeholder meetings. If you're certainly if you're a stakeholder and have an interest, you need to be a part of that because let's face it. When Barbara comes and visits all the merchants and she's checking in on you and you fill her in with this information and then she's just learning of it. It's like, why didn't you share that at a meeting so we can talk about
we
that
could all
and
talk
address
about
it and fix it here and deal with it. And so that's what these meetings are for. So everyone's on the same page. And the Main Street corridor really is a family of businesses. They look out for each other. They network. If there's a rash of something wrong in the community, they spread the word to warn each other and tell each other and keep everybody in the loop. It is a very well knit community, the Main Street corridor, the businesses.
They do,
stuff.
and some of the Main Street stakeholders did join the UFO committee and brought in some of their ideas.
Awesome.
And even supported, what we were working
we
on.
We need more of that.
And we did local newspaper thank yous, and here, on your station, Mike. we did advertisement to, talk about what's going on.
Yeah.
But we just have a lot of wonderful things going on. And if you're thinking, I've got a great idea, how about not put it on Facebook? How about you call me?
Absolutely.
How about you call me and say, hey, Barbara, I've got this great idea.
Absolutely.
I mean, even sitting here in your office, Mike, one of your employees here, Roy, said, hey, Barbara, what about that idea I had for the UFO festival?
Yeah.
And he had a great idea that I'm going to take it to the rest of the group and see how they feel
Run up
about
the flagpole.
That's right. Run it up and see what people think. But
Absolutely. But
again,
get involved. They're looking for people to do. And that's, to be honest, I think you look at some, like folks like Peggy and these other great volunteers that you have that are a part of this. You know how they all got started? They just got involved one day. They showed up and said they were interested, and here we sit. And that's all it takes is for you just to say, I want to get involved. I want to be a part of this. And there's more than enough stuff we can find for you to get involved.
Right. But we have civic organizations out there, Mike, that always step up and help as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But this is another little plug that I'm going to do a Kiwanis plug really quick here. You know how we always have the All Civics Luncheon?
Absolutely.
Well, this year we've kind of changed it.
Okay.
So this year it's going to be the All Civics, what did we call it? Celebration, dessert, and dance.
Okay.
We haven't had one of those in a few years, since COVID. It's kind of been, so we decided we wanted to pull everybody out, not just civic organizations, because coincidentally, the Sertoma Club of Roswell was a huge sponsor of the UFO Festival.
Awesome.
They're a civics group, but they were a huge sponsor. So this will give you your opportunity, whether you are with Many Hands, whether you're a health organization, whether you do something for the community. It's more community-minded people that we want to recognize. But we don't want to make it all a bunch of blah, blah, blah talking.
Sure.
What we want to make it is dinner. Yeah. Some great dessert
Cut a rug and
some live music. So you'll be hearing more about that as we go on.
Okay, excellent. But that's kind of what we're looking here. So and again, this is more of that networking and learning and getting those nonprofits and getting your message out there too. That's what these are. I mean, as much as we're dancing and having fun, it is getting your message out there and getting more people
and honoring at least one person in your club that has been outstanding.
And then showing some love to those people that's fortunately or unfortunately, doesn't matter. Most of these people would never seek these kinds of attentions. They just go do it, and they would go unnoticed unless we put the spotlight on them. And, and some of them don't like it, but you know what? You deserve it anyway. It's just you
deserve it. And
when
Mike,
you do good things, people need to know that.
Yeah, and Mike, you need to make sure your veterans groups are there as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, we want to include everybody.
Yeah,
so please
get
make
them all.
sure.
VFW and American Legion, Travis County veterans, all the above. Get on out there.
Get on out there, you guys. It's a good time to let people know who you are and recognize at least one person, and let us know what one project that you're working on or worked on before that didn't get recognized because of what was going on with COVID and everything else. So
absolutely.
Anyway,
got to play a little catch up there.
Yeah, a little catch up. And by the way, you can find us at mainstreetroswell.org. That's our website. My phone number is 575-914-8017.
Yeah.
You can always call the radio station. I'm sure Mike can direct you.
We can get you there. And if you have any questions about anything we talked about here, don't hesitate to reach out. If you're looking for, even if you're having questions about moving into the corridor, please reach out to Main Street Roswell.
We have some open businesses.
Barbara can help you put you in touch with some real estate and various openings in town, things like that. If you're looking, any of that kind of stuff, please reach out to Main Street Roswell. Even if, say, you're bands and stuff and want to say, put us on your radar for your next events and things,
that would
please
be
reach
fantastic.
out to that too.
Yeah.
So when the next festival happens, she's not scouring. She's got a list of bands that are ready and willing to say, you know what, I want to be a part of this and sign us up kind of thing. So reach out.
A lot going on, but thank you all. Give us a call.
And Q, and don't work too hard, and we'll see you next time, if not sooner.
Thank you, Mike.
You go someplace cool now.
I know. Have a good week. And all.
Go find a nice, maybe hit Stellar, get a nice iced coffee. Or something.
That's a good idea.
Something to get you out of the Moab heat.
All right. My cool vacation.
That's right. She's got to cool off. Weirdly enough, a lot of cold soups. I don't think you've ate hot food in a week. So just kidding. Yeah. It is 9:50. Let's pause for news, your Hannity update, Cowboys report. Can't believe we're already getting to that season. And then a quick break as well. Don't go away.
The Sunland Park Fire Department recently assisted Border Patrol, Doña Ana County Sheriff's Office, and New Mexico Office of the Medical Investigator in recovering a body Sunday evening in the desert. SPFD announced the discovery on its X account. The body was found by Border Patrol just off New Mexico Highway 9, off mile marker 144, according to SPFD. New ads published in the Dallas Morning News and Fort Worth Star-Telegram on Sunday asked North Texas medical professionals to consider relocating to New Mexico amid Texas abortion bans. The ads, which feature an open letter from New Mexico Governor Lujan Grisham, urge Texas doctors to consider moving to New Mexico if they cannot tolerate Texas restriction on abortion access. Similar advertisements were published in the Houston Chronicle, San Antonio Express News, and the Austin American Statesman. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello reporting.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Sunny and hot for Roswell today. We'll be hitting about 100, 97, and sunny at Carlsbad, about 96, and sunny at Artesia. No big changes to the weather pattern overnight with clear skies down to 70, and things look about the same for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Afternoon highs 100 to 105, and we keep the sunshine. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
All across America, this is the Red Apple Audio Network's Market Report.
I'm James Flippin. U.S. stocks finished lower Friday, the market clawing back some of its losses during the final hour of trading, but big picture, it was a major down day for Wall Street. The NASDAQ officially entering correction territory. Traders have begun rotating out of chip stocks in recent days. The July jobs report, the big talking point Friday, the unemployment rate up, rose to 4.3% in July, above market expectations. It's also the highest unemployment rate since October 2021. U.S. factory orders fell by more than expected in June. That all contributes in the aggregate to increased concerns of a potential recession, arguably why the market took such a beating Friday. And later today, in terms of economic data, we'll get the ISM Services Index. In company-specific news, Amazon sold off after its Q2 results led to concerns that big tech is overspending on capital improvements for artificial intelligence. Intel saw its share price plummet after issuing a downbeat forecast. And the Justice Department is suing TikTok over claims the social media company violated children's privacy laws. Later today, look for earnings reports from Tyson Foods. That's the Market Report. I'm James Flippin.
This is the Red Apple Audio Network's Market Report. Red Apple Audio Networks remembers Lou Dobbs.
Don't let bad policies and record inflation take your lifetime of hard work. Colonial Metals Group helps Americans protect their future with the most trusted store of wealth in human history, physical gold and silver. If you're retiring or retired, go to colonialmetalsgroup.com/Kudlow for your free Larry Kudlow Colonial Metals Group Retirement Protection Kit. Call 800-621-3908, 800-621-3908, and call now to receive a free home safe and up to $7,500 in free silver.
Strong women need strong partners to help them lead their healthiest lives. At Artesia General Hospital, Dr. Scott Beard and nurse practitioner Lori Crockett deliver compassionate, holistic care to women at every age and stage. From routine checkups to diagnostic testing and specialty services like urogynecology, you can expect the most innovative, personalized care close to home. Learn more about women's services at Artesia General Hospital online at artesiageneral.com/women or by calling 575-736-8394. Many women's services are also offered in Carlsbad.
Are you walking around with a space in your mouth from a missing tooth? Are you having difficulty chewing? Or are you holding back on your big smile in those group photos? Hi, this is Dr. Sarah Usher with Carabelli Dental. Did you know that we provide dental implant treatment for our patients? We can help you replace one tooth or all your teeth with dental implants. Why not call our office today? Set up an appointment and let's chat about options that will boost your confidence and allow you to live the life with the smile you want.
Come see the team at Carabelli Dental at the corner of 9th and Main in Roswell or call 575-622-4455.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Did you know you share your birthday with at least 9 million other people in the world? Your birthday isn't feeling so special now, is it? Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 8:58. Stay tuned next hour, about 9:15 or so. We're going to be joined in studio by Michaela Mertz. She's with the Pecos Valley Public Services. They're a nonprofit organization that does a lot of work in our community, helping out even in the wilderness, out to helping homeless here in our community. So we'll get an update from her, talk a little bit about their nonprofit, and always invite you to be a part of that. So that's coming up next hour. Hey, next Tuesday, 1 week from tomorrow, August 13th, is the Historical Society for Southeast New Mexico's Heritage Dinner drive-through event honoring Troy Hayes this year. And I got an email early this morning, or late last night, depending on how you look at it, that if you did not get a box, you can still buy one, but get it done today. If you wanted to get a dinner box or bundle for the Heritage Dinner, if you get in touch with Amy today, she can get you in there. But this is it. After day tomorrow, we got to get it done. Because like I said, we are 1 week out, basically the next Tuesday. What you need to do is, if you want to get a box for next Tuesday's Heritage Dinner, reach out to Amy. You can shoot her an email, historydirector@outlook.com, or call the Historical Society at 575-622-8333. Again, 575-622-8333. Leave a voicemail. She'll get you a reservation set up for next week. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico. All right. Well, maybe I don't have news. I was sitting there waiting for it to flip over to news, and news is not coming on. Let me go work this issue. Hold on a second. Okay, so apparently the problem is not just here; it's in Artesia as well. So I went to try to go online and see if I could pick up the news feed from our sister station, and he's talking and saying that he's got the channel open, but he's not getting anything either. So it looks like our news is down right now. So we'll work on getting that up. So let me do this. Let's go ahead. And we'll do a local news update, and then we'll come back on the other side here and talk to you. We'll start the other hour. So let's go ahead and do a local news update, and then we'll do a Wall Street business update, and then we'll come back.
Now for your Pecos Valley News Update, I'm Jared Cirillo. The Sunland Park Fire Department recently assisted Border Patrol, Doña Ana County Sheriff's Office, and New Mexico Office of the Medical Investigator in recovering a body Sunday evening in the desert. SPFD announced the discovery on its X account. The body was found by Border Patrol just off New Mexico Highway 9, off mile marker 144, according to SPFD. New ads published in the Dallas Morning News and Fort Worth Star-Telegram on Sunday asked North Texas medical professionals to consider relocating to New Mexico amid Texas abortion bans. The ads, which feature an open letter from New Mexico Governor Lujan Grisham, urge Texas doctors to consider moving to New Mexico if they cannot tolerate Texas restriction on abortion access. Similar advertisements were published in the Houston Chronicle, San Antonio Express News, and the Austin American Statesman. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo reporting.
Turn up your radio. Here's the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
I've been telling you over and over, this radicalized new Green Deal, eliminate private health insurance, open borders, surrender in the war on terror, no private health insurance, no fracking, no drilling, surrender in the war on terror, 70 to 80% tax rates, mandatory gun confiscation. You know, this new party has gotten out of touch. They have become radicalized. They are extremists, and their policies are downright dangerous. Israel on the brink of a three-front war, and their message to Israel is to show restraint.
Check out the Sean Hannity radio show later today, right here.
You know, out of all the things we can do to maintain and protect our homes, you know what? Getting up on a ladder, cleaning out the gutters, that's the last thing anyone wants to do. I know, I've done it. And right now you can save up to 30% off your entire purchase when you go to leaffilter.com/Hannity. An investment in Leaf Filter is an investment engineered to protect your entire home. Now, the beauty of Leaf Filter is they take care of everything start to finish. Every installation comes with a free inspection, free estimate, and a lifetime guarantee. Now, a Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will clean out, realign, seal your gutters before installing Leaf Filter, protect your home, and never clean out gutters ever again with Leaf Filter. They're America's #1 gutter protection system. And schedule your free inspection. Get up to 30% off your entire purchase when you go to leaffilter.com/Hannity. That's a free inspection up to 30% off, leaffilter.com/Hannity, and do it today.
See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount, 1 discount per household.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The tablet said, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3 of Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Monday, everybody.
Yes.
Like a Monday. Apparently our news was not wanting to operate. I went because I was like, it's not coming up. And then I was like, well, let me see if I can go get onto the sister station. And Boss Man saying, I don't know why our news isn't coming up. So apparently it's
just a satellite hiccup or something.
Yeah, it's above here in this office. So
the problem transcends Roswell.
That's right. Or at least our team. I don't know. Somebody forgot to hit a button or something like that. But they're working at
Hamster died.
Yes. Hopefully by the end of the show we have news. Guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
I'll find out when you find out. Turn on, see if there's news.
If not, we can fake it. Breaking news at this hour.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise in a horrific accident. What?
Do the whole George Carlin. Got a partial score, 27. Yeah, we'll do that.
So, one of the things in that fun little Saturday Night Live rabbit hole I fell into this weekend is I ended up rewatching the documentary I Am Chris Farley.
Yeah.
Something I forgot about that's mentioned in that documentary, the reason for Chris Farley's relapse, like he had cleaned himself up, he had gotten himself, sobered up and gotten himself clean for the sake of SNL. He was good to go. I found out through that documentary while he was in a AA program, or essentially like an NA program, his sponsor was Andy Dick. Yeah, wow. His sober sponsor was Andy Dick.
And he was falling off the wagon around that time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's like, handing over the keys to the kingdom to to Satan himself, essentially. Andy Dick's the one who ended up getting him back on the junk.
Oh, okay.
And that's what led to his eventual overdose.
I wonder, like has Andy Dick cleaned himself up? Like, I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him in a hot minute on anything.
Again, the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So, come to find out, Andy Dick is also the person who basically got, doggone it, what's his name? The guy from News Radio.
Oh, Hartman?
Phil Hartman got his wife back on the junk.
Oh, wow.
So he's affected not just one, but two huge celebrity deaths of the 90s. Cut to, I think it was a couple of years ago, he was found, I want to say, I might be mixing up stories here, but I want to say it was in Vegas, living on the streets.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's not looking great.
Huh.
Tank great for the man, and nobody wants to give him a help up because he's brought so many people down.
Yeah.
Basically.
Wow. I didn't realize that. I thought maybe he cleaned himself up and just retired into life somewhere.
I mean, there's still hope, I guess. I mean, you could always.
He's alive.
He's still kicking.
I mean, you look at folks, and probably the biggest success point out of going deep down that is probably a Robert Downey Jr. type.
Robert Downey Jr., I would say yes. See, my mind goes to DDP yoga.
Yeah.
Like how, Jake the Snake turned it around. There's been a few other people who have just completely, gotten off the junk and gotten their life back together because of DDP yoga, of all things. Robert Downey Jr. is another one of those interesting moments for me. You've seen the announcement by now, I'm sure.
Oh, that he's
that he's going to be playing the main boss in the new.
He's basically playing another character in the Marvel MCU, and everyone's all
Dr. Doom. Yeah. That's what it is. So it's the new Avenger, the next one of the. I think the Avengers after the next one is called like the Doom Sphere, the Doom something, Doombringer, and that's basically the introduction of Dr. Doom.
Okay.
So, does this feel like a desperate cash grab to you?
Well,
I mean, he's the most recognizable face in the MCU, and they basically had no choice but to work him out of the system.
I would argue maybe, but I think Marvel is having a bit of a problem with star power right now.
Yes, they are. Well, and this is another thing
and let's face it, Downey Jr., with the Iron Man performance, kind of single-handedly launched this iteration of what we call the MCU now. So yes and no. I think is it a cash grab for him? Maybe, but I think Marvel's perspective is they're just trying to keep fans.
Yeah.
I think they're just trying to keep fans from outgrowing and walking away.
Well, they're running out of origin stories to tell, essentially.
They're trying to get the new fans, the next generation, while at the same time not alienating their Captain America, Iron Man, and so forth, so on.
You know what it reminds me of, kind of? And this is a vague reference, but there's a video game called Katamari Damacy.
All right.
Ever heard of it?
God bless you. No.
Yes. Okay. So in this game, try to follow this line of logic. In this game, you are the son of God. You are the son of a god.
Okay.
Okay. God and all of his god friends over the weekend decided to throw a huge party and ate the universe.
Okay.
So now it's your job as the son of this god to rebuild the universe one star at a time.
Okay.
You do this by going to random places, and you start as this tiny little thing, and you have to roll this ball.
Oh, I've seen the commercial,
to
or I've seen like a
all
video
the
of it.
stuff in this environment up to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger to eventually make stars and planets.
I did see that. I've seen a video of that game. I didn't know that's what it was called. But
It's Katamari Damacy. There's been several versions of it. But it feels like they've gotten the Katamari ball so big now that there's nothing left for it to consume. So now it's starting to kind of collapse in on itself. You're running out of fuel for your, for your star, essentially.
Yeah.
So they're grasping at whatever they can. And again, Robert Downey Jr. feels like a big grasp.
It could be. Because
everybody else, they've still got sort of worked into the MCU. You still got your Captain Americas, your Thors, your all of them. Robert Downey Jr. was pretty much the only one they wrote out. Off spoiler alert, after the was it Endgame? Whichever one it was.
Yeah, whatever. One of those
so he's no longer
Avengers.
Involved, but there's got to be some type of reference or in-joke or break of the fourth wall. I mean, maybe this is where Deadpool comes in. He points out, he's like, y'all know that's Robert Downey Jr., right?
Maybe.
Like that's Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to point it out.
Well, and it's and I was mentioning this I think to Roy the other day. Have y'all watched or seen there's an HBO show called The Sympathizer.
Okay.
And it is it's on Max. It's an HBO show. And basically it takes place during Vietnam era. And it's talking about spies in Vietnam, spies in America, or are they communists? That's basically it's a dramedy. I mean, it's drama with comedic elements, but Robert Downey Jr. is in this series.
Okay.
But he plays like 3 different characters in the series. And the part that got me, and it took me a minute to pay attention, is they don't tell you he's 3 different, like they just show up. And so for a minute, I'm like, is he, because he plays like a CIA operative. He also plays a movie director, and he plays like just a flamboyant, connected business guy.
I'm going to put it this way. He might as well just be the white guy.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at this cast. The only other name that I feel safe in saying is Sandra Oh.
Yeah.
Like everybody else, there's like Fred.
Well, it's all Vietnamese.
Fred Win Con.
Yeah.
Toan Le.
Yeah.
That looks like a prescription medication. Vai Li, Win Cao Kai Dien, Klu Chin.
You know what? Now that you say it,
San Duan Di.
Yeah, it's all Vietnamese.
Uh-huh.
It's a Vietnamese centered project.
Is it like subtitled?
No, it's all in English and everything. It's just but it's taking. It's during the 60s, 70s Vietnam era.
Gotcha.
And
okay.
so it's the spy versus spy stuff, and so it's all Vietnamese culture and really the main character. You're like, is he a communist spy? Is he really? He's kind of that's the whole premise of this show. But when you said it, it makes sense. Yes, Robert Downey Jr. pretty much plays all the white guys in that show.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
So I just don't know.
But they haven't referenced the fact that he's playing against himself, essentially.
Well, but to me, I was like, wait a minute, is this? Because I'm like, hey, there's Robert Downey. This time he's bald. I'm like, is he? But because one of his characters is CIA operative, I'm like, is he just a CIA character, or is this? No, he's a completely different person. But It took me a minute to figure that out, and him not just playing the CIA character is another character. And
now, has there come a point when he comes in contact with himself?
Yeah, there is some of that.
Really?
Yeah, and it's double imaged because basically his character recommends his other characters to the main character in various ways, shapes, or forms. Does that make sense? Let me introduce you to a guy who can do it, and it's him in another.
I have been fascinated by mirror image photography and film work since Haley Mills in the classic The Parent Trap.
Yes.
Like I was obsessed with the technology or the ability to stare at oneself mirror-like.
Well, Sympathizer will give you that same feeling because it's all of that. It's
go check that. At some point, he's got to do the mirror thing. It's like the old Marx Brothers.
It's like Austin Powers without the comedy.
What would this be like without all those ha-has?
Right. All right, we should get the hour going.
Yes,
our guest is patiently waiting in the other room while we tell stupid stories. We're going to be joined this hour by Michaela Mertz. She's with Pecos Valley Public Services, and they are a nonprofit community organization. They work with, they kind of when I'm reading all their stuff, and they partner obviously with many organizations, the Health Council and stuff, but they're kind of where there's need help, whether it's out in the wilderness or out, helping homeless, things like that. So we will talk with Michaela here in just a few, but first, let's get you up to date on the weather. Weather is brought to you by Bob Reed Pest Control. From general pest control, termite control, trees, shrubs, and yard treatment for both residential and commercial. Call the pest management professionals at Bob Reed Pest Control, 575-623-5344.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Sunny and hot for Roswell today. We'll be hitting about 100, 97, and sunny at Carlsbad, about 96, and sunny at Artesia. No big changes to the weather pattern overnight with clear skies down to 70, and things look about the same for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Afternoon highs 100 to 105, and we keep the sunshine. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. The good news bear with all that hotness. Currently 81 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 47% with southwest winds at 7 miles per hour. Steve mentioned it's going to be hot all week. 98, 99 today. southwest winds 5 to 10. Clear tonight, overnight low of 69 degrees with south winds 5 to 10. 100 under sunny skies tomorrow, winds out of the south 5 to 10. Wednesday, sunny 105. Thursday, sunny and 104. Friday, sunny 101. Weekend, warm as well. Saturday, 100 for a high and 102 and sunny on Sunday. No talk of rain and any of this stuff this week. However, it is New Mexico. It may say that, and then tomorrow they give me a new weather cast. And, oh, yeah, by the way, we got rain chances. So just because it says not now doesn't mean might be later. But at least what they're saying right now is just going to be sunny and hot all week. All right, 9:19, we're going to take a quick minute and a half break, and then we'll talk Pecos Valley Public Services on the other side. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Attention Roswell and surrounding areas. Is your old car, truck, or SUV on life support? Clear. With new management and a whole new attitude, Roswell Ford makes trading up to a new Ford or quality pre-owned vehicle fast, fun, and easy. Upside down in your loan or stuck in your lease? Roswell Ford wants to get you released even if you owe thousands more than your trade is worth, regardless of make, miles, or condition. Right now, get huge savings with rates as low as 0% for 66 months and no payments until Labor Day. Plus, we have a great selection of low-mileage, one-owner pre-owned vehicles, all in prime condition, starting at just $10,000. Don't settle for a low-quality, overpriced clunker. Buy a quality pre-owned vehicle from Roswell Ford for a lot less. Worried about your credit? Don't sweat it. We've partnered with the most aggressive lenders that will push to approve you today, even with bad or no credit. Lower prices, exceptional trade-in values, and a better buying experience. Get on board at Roswell Ford, 821 North Main Street in beautiful Roswell, or online at roswellford.com. $1,515 per thousand finance on select new Ford models with approved credit.
Strong women need strong partners to help them lead their healthiest lives. At Artesia General Hospital, Dr. Scott Beard and nurse practitioner Lori Crockett deliver compassionate, holistic care to women at every age and stage. From routine checkups to diagnostic testing and specialty services like urogynecology, you can expect the most innovative, personalized care close to home. Learn more about women's services at Artesia General Hospital online at artesiageneral.com/women or by calling 575-736-8394. Many women's services are also offered in Carlsbad.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. There are 293 ways to make change for $1. Try all 293 on the guy who keeps borrowing money from you. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 21 minutes after 9 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from Pecos Valley Public Services, Michaela Mertz joining us in studio this morning. Good morning. How are you today?
Doing really great. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, thank you for spending some time with us, and I guess we should probably start, well, at the beginning, but kind of give for folks that may not be familiar, just kind of give a general description of what Pecos Valley Public Services is all about, what this organization does.
There's still people who don't know us?
There's a few under some rocks or two here.
Yeah, okay. So. Well, we started as a search and rescue outfit.
Okay.
But have since withdrawn from search and rescue because it limits our community services. And we're providing emergency volunteer services for the county. Everything from wilderness rescue to medical services, pretty much.
Kind of on the spot if there's a need. Obviously, folks, you don't tell people we live in a more rural part of the country, and
so I've noticed.
And so, sometimes, services like that aren't just a phone call away sometimes, and so
that's we're just volunteers, so we don't respond as fast as 911.
But when these things happen, you guys are rolling in and helping out. Yeah. I mean, obviously, emergency services are handling the emergency triage stuff, but you're kind of in support wherever you need to be there.
Well, it kind of depends. I mean, we have specialized tools and equipment to be able to go out in the wilderness and get people out.
Okay.
Starting from UTVs, rope training.
Okay.
That sort of thing.
Sure. Kind of like when the people get stuck on the mountain kind of thing.
For example.
Or lost in the wilderness.
We don't really have a lot of mountain here.
Sure. But you know what I mean. Those instances where, fortunately we're not as of an issue here as maybe up north, but sometimes a car goes off the road or something, and if it's not uncommon for it to be left for
like
days.
Flooding, for example, or the Ruidoso crisis, of course, where we were deployed like 8 days or something like that, helping out the shelters, providing services there. It's the homeless community we support.
And that's where your scope goes a little bit bigger than most people think. I mean, they probably think of you from the kind of the emergency side to when there's a situation but when there's not those going on, you guys are just helping with homeless or, not meeting a natural disaster crisis.
The idea is that we want to address the human suffering in the county.
Gotcha.
So it doesn't really matter why somebody is suffering or who is suffering,
Sure.
If somebody requests our support, not because his car broke down, but if somebody has a serious need for help in any way, we try to address it.
Try to get them in touch with, if you can't do it directly, in touch with the people that can provide that that service or that support they need. So, okay. Now, how long has this been in this organization?
We started like in autumn 22.
Okay. So you got about 2-3 years going on under the belt now here.
And has been an interesting up and down.
Sure. Now, are you one of the founders, one of the starters of it?
Yes.
So what inspired you to do this? What was your inspiration?
When we moved here from Texas, we realized that there was kind of lots of wilderness around.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband and I like to hang out in the desert.
Okay.
And we looked up what happens, if somebody gets injured and stuff like that. And we found out that's volunteers providing those services. And we had the idea of giving back.
Sure.
Since we like the desert, we
Right.
like to hang out there.
Kind of
Might
our
as
jam.
well volunteer to help others if they're in trouble.
Okay.
And so we went into search and rescue. Then we found out that this is a state thing. And whenever we wanted to do something in a community, the state says, well, you're not supposed to do that. You're a state organization and let the locals handle that. And it's self-deployment. And so we did a couple of search and rescue missions, but we always run into static with the state whenever we did something for the homeless community, for example,
So the red tape was kind of preventing you from really doing what you wanted to do.
It's understandable. I
Sure.
mean, the state doesn't want people running around in search and rescue uniforms and be confused like an active mission or something like that.
Sure.
But at some point in time, it was just too complicated to support community issues, and that's when we said, you know what, we have so much to do in the community. That's where we want to focus on. I mean, all the search and rescue missions we did were like Sunland Park and Belen and White Sands. Had nothing to do with
Nothing in
community.
southeast New Mexico, really.
Yeah, so it had nothing to do with the community, but we wanted to focus more on community, and that is when the directors voted and said, let's get out of the search and rescue thing. We
Okay.
got plenty to do.
Gotcha. Yeah, you're not wrong there. There is many needs here. Though I would imagine from time to time those services might get a phone call here and there and say, hey, we got something going on. And I imagine you guys drop what you're doing and help out wherever is needed.
Yeah, we have a jump team that is ready in 1 hour.
Okay.
So if we have to address an issue, let's say in Mescalero Dunes or whatever,
Okay.
or other, we have had calls for people who had like a mishap with their UTVs or ATVs, somewhere out then where pretty much nobody can get to.
Sure.
But we can. And that's kind of the specialty. We go places where nobody else goes.
Gotcha.
So, and there are a couple of places in the county we did a lot of scouting, so that we know our county, from all the sinkholes that are somewhere. We actually rappelled them down, to take tires out, stuff like that.
Oh, okay. So it's just cleanup stuff too, and
Yeah,
things that are.
we pretend it's a victim.
Sure. Yeah, it's
Even
training
though
part
it's
of
just a wire.
Sure.
It's just a tire.
It's a benefit. You're cleaning up at the same time. It
And
meets your
training.
training,
Yes.
and if there's an actual person or something more valuable down there.
Yeah. So, but then of course we have plenty to do here in the county, in the
Sure.
city too, with the homeless community, or people get stranded and stuff like that. And with the air races coming up, this is probably going to explode.
Sure.
Somehow.
Yeah, you know what? That's an excellent point. There's going to be more people, more things going on, which means more need there.
I mean, if we think about the air races conservatively, we're going to see like 50,000 people in town. And they rely heavily on volunteers.
Sure.
And then, of course, we're going to provide those services.
Sure. So for you guys, to keep doing what you're doing and keep going, as far as community, is it really relying on the generosity of the community to help out there? That's the big need right now is probably volunteers and material?
Actually, the money is not really the issue.
Okay.
I mean, money is always an issue.
Sure, people never in the nonprofit world do you hear someone say, "No, we got enough money."
No. We got enough money to provide our services.
Sure.
But whenever we need to expand, and the next step is we want to set up a not-for-profit EMS service.
Okay.
And the not-for-profit in this sense means for free.
Gotcha.
So that we can address certain issues that have been historically a problem.
Okay.
Especially with the vulnerable community who really don't want to call 911 or
Absolutely.
something like that,
Sure.
So that's what we're working on.
Gotcha.
And of course, with all the licensing and insurance thing and this
Sure.
and that and this needs a lot of money. But we're on a good track here. But the most important thing I think people don't realize is volunteers. I mean, we get volunteers, but as soon as we put a little bit of pressure on them in regard to, hey, you have to have training to do that. You know?
Sure.
Hey, you have to do your.
We appreciate your heart, but we got to protect yourself and the people you're helping.
It's also the if you're if you're in the diaspora of first responders, you have to have certain trainings. It starts with background checks. It goes over incidents commands training, FEMA stuff.
Absolutely.
You have to go through those trainings.
Sure.
And that's usually when they say, well, I'm ready to volunteer once in a
But they don't want to commit to the
but,
time constraints to get certified to do these
yes.
things. Yeah.
And so we are always looking for people who really are willing to put their money where the mouth is,
Okay.
And that's kind of the hardest thing we have.
Sure, is getting qualified. People are willing to commit to the time constraints and dedication that
we
it
have a
takes to
partner
do
organization in El Paso.
Okay.
And they actually sent one of their medical people up here to provide services for the FFA thing. We provided medical services for we were there every day.
Yeah, in case something happens at the fair, you're ready. And
we had a few things, but it's just minor scraps,
Sure,
stuff like
bump
that.
and bruises
but we've
here.
still provided those services, and it's fun for us. It's fun for them, and we are all certified in CPR AD. I'm an EMT actually, so
you can do a lot of first aid.
Yes.
Prior to
or even
EMS or whatever getting on
if
scene.
One of the elderly has a cardiac issue, we can
stabilize
take care of that.
Till the doctors can get them into the
or the
proper,
ambulance comes in.
to the proper facilities and things. Absolutely. And so folks listening that are willing to commit that kind of time, then that's the big thing. It's like you want to help, but you're also willing to go through the trainings, the certifications, or maybe you even have some of that already in your possession due to your day job or whatever. We would love to have you offer your services to this organization here and see.
Yeah, I'm not we are not the only volunteer organization running into trouble when it comes to volunteers.
Sure.
Pretty much everybody has this, especially those who require more than showing up.
Sure.
So I think that people don't realize that a lot of things happening in the city and the county, not only here, everywhere, is pretty much based on volunteers, And so they should probably put their phones down and dream about, doing something and really start doing something.
Absolutely.
That's the most important thing,
Well, and I say this all the time on this show, and I say this, if you want a great community, the only people that are going to make their community great are the people living in it.
Yeah, that is absolutely true.
If you're waiting for someone else to do something, you're going to be waiting a while. You need to roll up your sleeves and get involved.
Of course, you can also bitch about it.
Yeah, exactly. You can complain; it's easy. But unless you're in the, you got to get. And that's why I talk about social media and Facebook. Like I get it; it feels good to spout and spew and to do your thing, but you're not getting anything done. You're just alienating people.
A lot of people think that if they vent about something, that is, of course, they're right,
Sure.
But it's not going to do nothing.
I was say, you want to be right and not get nothing done, or you want to get figured out and let's make this a better place. And that's so. I always invite people get involved in some way, shape, or form. We have a town roughly of 50,000 people here, and I know most of that's kids. Let's just say 25,000, half of that. If half of those people just picked their one passion, whatever it is, whether it's youth, whether it's, coaching, whether it's through church, and pick your one organization, your passion project, and get involved with it. Maybe it's search and rescue.
But we also have to take our leaders in responsibility.
Sure.
Because, when I look back at the Roswell crisis, the first 3 days was pretty much volunteers. And, we were activated Sunday afternoon, and from Sunday afternoon, together with our friends over at the Roswell Disaster Relief, Enrique's crew.
Yes.
And even though Enrique had just suffered a stroke, he came in his little electric wheelchair, to help. And so we provided the first bunch of support for the shelters. We directed people to the shelters. We then switched over to provide services in the shelters, from getting medicine to providing, just be there for the people, who may have lost everything. We had medical issues and stuff like that. So, we provided over the first 8 days, just our organization alone provided 200 man hours. And then you see the county leaders talking about how great the Red Cross was, and the Salvation Army, and the National Guard. Well, they came in day 4 or 5.
Right.
So, why didn't they make a volunteer appreciation thing, Because, we do it for free, and we like to do it, but we also like to be appreciated.
Absolutely.
And the city should have said, hey, volunteers, hey, we invite you over. We recognize you, you did a great job. Thank you.
And
nothing.
And I'm not trying to stir pots here, but the consensus I've heard from folks was we had this triage pretty well until
I'm not going to say nothing about that.
The big guns came in and started changing things.
Well, actually, I can tell you a true story, and that's not stirring the pot.
Yeah.
I had 3 patients in the university shelter, and I was monitoring them, and everything was hunky-dory, and then the Red Cross came in. And one morning I show up, say, hey, good morning. Hey, morning. What are you doing here? I say, well, want to take care of my patient. Oh, you're not supposed to get in here. I said, well, why not? Well, because you're not Red Cross certified, something like that. I said, well, listen, I have to see my patients, No, you're not. Red Cross is in charge now. I said, okay. So what happens if one of my patients, has a medical problem? Well, we call an ambulance. I said, great. So who's going to be on an ambulance? Well, EMTs. I said, hello.
Pleased to meet you. I'm EMT.
They didn't let me in.
Yeah, this is bureaucracy at its finest.
So, yeah. I'm pretty sure the Red Cross is a great organization. Don't get me wrong. If they're in disaster areas where community is really devastated, they have the resources to help. That's the great thing.
Absolutely.
But in Roswell, everything was running fine. We had everything under control. And
and this goes back to we're just part of the country. We're used to being on the island. When things happen, we take care of it.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what this did with your organization and other organizations. Just like it did.
A great shout out to the fairground here, because they provided the best shelter in town, pretty much.
Sure.
Because they were kind of on themselves. They did what they do,
Sure.
They had all the animals, and it was a familiar experience. People could walk around. They did a fantastic job.
Sure.
The university was great too, and Dr. Powell did a great job too.
We had a lot of entities just roll up their sleeves and do whatever they can when or offer what they could, and to be honest,
especially over the first couple of days.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of, and I'm not trying to, like you said, we're not trying to downplay or besmirch what national organizations do. They serve a great purpose in the world, and we need them. However, this situation is one of those things where because of what we are, and this is why we need to support organizations like yours, like Pecos Valley Public Services, and many of the others you were mentioning earlier here. These are first boots on the ground. 99.9% of the time anything happens here in this part of the country. This is what goes on, and we need to support and foster that. Whether it's volunteering your time, whether it's maybe, that's not my wheelhouse. Okay, but I can donate. I can donate water, or I can donate money. I can donate, serve or time. Okay, maybe you're not qualified to go out, but there's so many other places in the line where you can help out.
I have to say, this is a great community.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was unfreaking believable to see how everybody pitched in. You know, I mean, some people donated just a case of water. You know, some people donated 10 cases of water. Other a truckload of dog food or whatever. It made me so proud to be part of that community. To see how everybody pitches in. You know, I mean, hey, we're Roswell.
Sure.
Everybody bitches about everything. You know, it's the politicians, it's the mayor, whatever. You know, people are constantly complaining.
But our heart is awesome.
But then shit hits the fan. And everybody goes, oh, I don't care. You know, let's pitch in. Let's help.
Sure.
You know? I mean, it was an unbelievable experience, and I'm really, really proud. But like I said, I think politicians should recognize this spirit and should foster it and should make call outs and shout outs to the people who really helped. And, you know, but we're still waiting for that.
Well, hopefully some of our elected officials are listening here and they might, you know, hey, don't forget.
That didn't come to mind.
And here's the thing. Most of these people, like you said, they're not going to say nothing. They're just going to keep doing what they're doing. And that's what's going to happen. And so I'm so glad that you came on and remind folks, you know what, these people, you know, the people like yourself and the many people that you work with hand in hand anytime something like this goes down, that we got to remember that. And so, you know, that's the part I kind of, yes, we had the big things, and I'm never going to tell people not to support that stuff. When American Red Cross tells you to donate $10, you do. Help out if you feel there. But please remember, the folks like Pecos Valley Public Services, like, you know, Emergency Disaster, all these Food Not Bombs, all these great organizations that are boots on the ground, grassroots, just some people living in our community. 9 times out of 10 start these organizations because they see a need somewhere.
Well, I mean, for example, for the during the Ruidoso crisis, I pretty much, and other volunteers in my organization, we had to put our lives on hold. I mean, I run a business, you know. I have not a business in terms of storefront. I'm a computer engineer.
But you gotta live, you gotta eat, you gotta earn a living.
I'm a computer engineer by trade.
Gotcha.
You know? So the moment something like that happens, you call around your customers and say, hey, I'm not going to be available for a week, you know, because this and that happens. And the customers say, hey, you go for it, you know. So you stop everything and you do something else. You know, we had other people who work for the university or have their own little business, you know, insurance business or other stuff. And they all stop what they're doing, put everything on hold, no lawn mowing, you know.
Sure.
We have to do something else.
Priority's bigger right now.
And I'm absolutely thankful and grateful for the volunteers who pitched in, you know. And like I said, I think that the city did an absolutely great job.
Sure. Well, we keep doing what we're doing, but I guess today's a big reminder is don't forget are those people, the people that literally they, you know, the moment things, I mean, it was no different than like those first days of COVID, if you all remember, when all that went down, and the community did the same thing, rallying wherever they can. Things are closed, but people are trying to help where they can help.
Or the Texas fire, you know, like half a year ago.
Yeah.
When actually Roswell Disaster Relief put out a request for donations, and we helped out to collect water, a trailer full. Within like 2 hours, that trailer was packed, and thankfully the police drove it over there to Texas.
Sure.
You know, so I mean, it was whenever something really goes off, you know, then the city comes together.
The rally happens. Yeah.
But it would be nice that to have all the volunteers being appreciated.
Sure.
You know?
Absolutely.
So that's the only request. I mean, we don't want money from the city, you know.
Sure.
I mean,
but an attaboy would be nice, you know. City council meeting,
would be nice
a recognition at a city council meeting would definitely, I think, be very appropriate.
Something like that.
Absolutely. But so hopefully they're listening. Somebody's listening out there, maybe a city councilor or someone that works for a city councilor or something, listen to this. But in the meantime, folks, if you're wanting to volunteer, I say Pecos Valley Public Services is definitely looking for great volunteers to commit to the training aspect. And so when the next thing happens, we've got a group of volunteers ready to hit the ground running.
The next thing can happen tomorrow, even maybe today.
Could happen later today. Could happen after the show.
But it will most certainly happen at the latest when the air races come.
Certainly, yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of things going on, and we do regular training, which is cool too, you know, being out in the desert, you know, playing around with stuff, you know.
Sure.
And we have a website, at www.pecosvalley.org.
Mm-hmm.
I was amazed that we got the domain,
I was looking and I was like, and if you don't remember that, just Google. If you Google Pecos Valley Public Services,
that
it should
comes up,
pop right up.
We're
You guys,
on
Facebook as well.
Facebook is too, yeah.
And that way you could. I highly recommend you guys like and follow the Facebook and go to the website. Do your research. Do your reading. Do your seeing. Especially on the website, you can kind of see all the different organizations you've partnered with over the years.
Yep.
What kind of your tentpole passions are. Those kinds of things. And see if this lines up with what you want to do, and reach out and reach out.
Perfectly
and get involved.
happy.
Absolutely, and trust us. And maybe there's someone listening. Maybe they.
What people need to know actually is that a 501c3. We are a 501c3.
Yes, all the nonprofit.
Once you
statuses.
are a part of it, you own it. It's not like a company
Sure.
where some bigwig owns it and you work for them. If you become a volunteer and the members vote you in, you're part of the owners.
Mm-hmm.
So
your
your
program.
voice is as important as everybody else's. We have a process of a volunteer has to go through before he can be voted in.
Sure.
But once he's voted in, he's part of it. He's part owner and everything.
Yes.
So that's a little bit different to first responder organizations. And if you go to the fire department, you don't own it.
Sure. You get told where to go and what to do with it.
Yeah. But if you're a member of a 501c3, if you volunteer and a member, then your voice is as important as others.
Absolutely.
You can put your ideas in, and we're welcome.
And that gives you all probably the flexibility to shift on a dime if need be. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
If the plan changes, you can adapt in a quicker fashion.
Well, I mean, we are as an organization, we are required to follow the certifications and stuff like that. I mean, we can't fly a drone unless we have the FAA certifications. We can't use a radio until we have the frequencies.
Sure.
We can't do any medical stuff.
Got to be above
until we
board
have
just
the
like everybody
training.
else. Yeah.
So that is a little bit different compared to, not as tight how do you call that? Organizations.
Sure.
If you want to give out food, you don't really need a lot of training to give apples out.
Absolutely.
So-
But like say the mission, if the mission's this way, but then the need changes real quickly, you guys have the flexibility to do that if need be, and that's
we have
probably the beauty of
we
how
have
you
an
run
emergency response truck.
Sure.
That is air conditioned, so we can go out in the desert, provide the rehab, for
quick
example.
triaging of things or whatever.
We can check people out. We have all the equipment in there, ropes and helmets and generators and scene lights and whatever we need to be out there,
Gotcha.
And we're trained to be out independently for like 36 hours. We can sustain ourselves in
just was curious with the equipment, and all that. Is it all done through generate donations, or you guys get grants and things? That
we got
where
a
do you
little
get that?
grant to support the homeless,
Gotcha.
which is expired now,
Gotcha,
of course.
okay.
But we have a couple of companies like Marathon Oil, for example,
Okay.
who help us.
Good.
And we also go out to other organizations and say, hey, how about it,
Gotcha. Yeah,
I mean,
so it's beating on doors like every other organization.
yeah. So
but
that is
I just knew because of what you do, there's probably specialized equipment, specialized things that you can only get in certain
a
circles.
patient monitor, which is called a Life Pack.
Okay.
And it has to be biomed certified, and it's like $18,000, So
that's cheap.
and it's just a patient monitor.
And that's why I was kind of curious. I was like, I know grassroots, that's a lot of money to raise. So I was hoping there was some support for some private benefactors.
Yeah, we
businesses
have
and things.
there's sometimes really unexpected generosity. We have that emergency response vehicle, and we have to change the flashers. That sit on like 3 foot of the ground.
Gotcha.
And they're really, really old. I was trying to clean the lenses, and they kind of crumbled on me. It was.
So a few updates on a few things, go
and
up to
so I went online and said, how am I going to replace those? Of course, they're 20 years old. You can't replace them.
It's all LEDs and stuff now. Yeah.
Nowadays, it's LEDs. So I looked up where to buy the LEDs, and somebody said, well, Clinique's the best company, So what I always do, I said, hey, we need like flashers, but we can't pay for them.
Right.
Because one of those things is like $350, $400. It's not like you buy from eBay,
Sure.
It all has to be certified,
Absolutely.
and FDA certified, and everything.
It's got to be able to withstand some of the harshness that
And
you're going to put
by
it through.
law, it has to be certified, So you cannot use just some Chinese blinkers and
Sure.
put them on.
Can't pick
No.
up one off Temu real quick.
No, that's not how it works. So Clinique came back, said, "Hey, we donate them, no problem." And I said, "Oh wow, I mean, it's like $2,000 value, and they just threw it in.
That's
Just
awesome.
received it the other day. Beautiful. Now we have to put them on, of course. Or when the truck broke down, we put a shout out on Facebook, and people showed up, fixed it, and said, "So how much do I owe you?" And they said, "Nothing. You're Pecos Valley,
Oh, that's cool.
And that is sometimes it's really cool, and other times, or the other day I was at the Chili's, and I was meeting with Enrique actually, and we were having lunch and talking, and then the manager came and said, "You know what? You guys are cool. I gave you another 30% off."
Oh, isn't that nice?
So I mean, sometimes it's unexpected, and it makes me feel really great because of the community and everything. Sometimes it works the other way around.
Absolutely.
So,
Well, it's like life. There's good days and bad.
but it's okay if we don't want money
Sure.
or appreciation or high fives, stuff like that. But sometimes it's just nice to be recognized.
Absolutely.
and that's-
Especially when people like yourself, they're all just volunteers that are just doing this because there's a need and they want
Well, and
to
I mean
help people.
volunteers. We do not get any money. Nobody. Not the directors,
Right.
not the drivers, volunteers, EMTs. Each and everybody who volunteers for us doesn't get any money.
All the money goes to the equipment and the resources needed to do the job.
I mean,
Yeah.
there are other charities out there, not mentioning the big ones where the CEO gets $1 million.
Absolutely. Yeah. You, when you donate, 10% is not going to operation costs or
but
whatever
for us,
nonsense out there.
it's different. We pride ourselves in the fact that none of our volunteers gets any money. So yeah, that's just the way it is.
Absolutely. So I can confidently say that, folks, that if you want to support financially, you can know that every dime you're donating is going to the mission of that
and we're
organization.
501c3, so it's tax deductible.
And you write it off and get your tax write-offs. Because
that is a big.
we pay enough taxes, so get your write-offs.
No, not really. Here's the thing: they always say, "Oh, 501c3, you can tax deduct." Well, only if you itemize, So if you have, if you itemize on your tax return, then you can write it off. But I mean, who does that? So it's kind of a weird thing for companies. It probably gonna make sense.
Absolutely.
But we might as well send the company.
But
an
if you need
invoice,
you need the extra incentive to do good, then we've got that for you. It's there. Again, check out the website. Go check out the Facebook page. Do your research. Do your reading. Learn a little bit more if you're not familiar, and then make a phone call. Get involved and say, "Hey, I'd love to do this. Volunteer." Or, you know what? Not my wheelhouse, but I love what you're doing. Can I help you financially, or can I help you in other ways here? And please reach out. But Pecos Valley Public Services, like you said, they're there. You hope you never need them, but and you get in a pinch, they're probably going to be a godsend.
We
on
will
you.
be there.
Yeah, exactly. And that's and because we live where we live here in the desert, in the mountains, in the rural areas. And it's a harsher life than what most people other parts of the world deal with when
But
it
it's
comes
cool,
to
isn't
it.
it?
It's we chose it because we love it, or we're
Yeah.
born and raised in it, or we just but with that comes some of those things.
I
And
wasn't
so-
born here, but I came as fast as I could.
Yes. You're from Germany.
Originally Germany.
Nice. Very good. So when did you come to the States? Just
next year we celebrate a quarter of a century.
Okay, so you've been here a minute.
Sort of. Not in Roswell. We started in Florida.
Okay.
When remember when they had the big real estate bubble there?
Oh yeah.
So people were offering crazy sums for a house without having seen it. At some point in time. I mean, if they throw money at you at some point, you go, you know what? Come on.
Sure.
So we sold and moved to Texas. We ran a ranch there for about 10 years.
Okay.
And then I had to go back to Germany, take care of my parents.
Sure.
And when they passed away, the same happened to my ranch because I wasn't there. And then we kind of decided that we want to move on. We went through Hurricane Harvey in Texas, where the water came like 2 inches to the house. And then we had the big freeze in Texas, where all our tropical plants were wiped out.
You see all of Texas extremes in the time you were
we
there.
said, you know what? We've had it.
Let's check out New Mexico.
We wanted to go into New Mexico because of the public lands. Texas doesn't have any public lands.
It's true. And I love Texas. But New Mexico's
Texas,
a way.
state, yeah.
New Mexico's a way prettier state than
Texas
New Mexico's
is a great state, but New Mexico is grander.
It's a way prettier state. I mean, and I grew up Maryland, Virginia, D.C. area. That's where I'm from originally. Cool. Hence my Redskins and all. That's where I grew up in there. Military brought me out here, but yeah, I fell in love with this, and I met my wife,
especially Roswell.
Absolutely.
I was up north in like May. I mean, people go Santa Fe is a great city. I don't like Santa Fe at all. I mean, the city people are great, of course.
Sure.
But everything is brown.
Right.
You after walking the city for a while, you go, don't they have something in red? I
mean,
we were circling the Walmart for like 20 minutes before we realized it's brown. So then we drove back. I mean, you drive through the Rio Grande Gorge, which is super great,
Sure.
And then you drive back, you hit Juan, and you go to Juan, and nothing happens. It's just desert. And then suddenly you see that big green spot. And that's Roswell.
The oasis in the desert, literally.
It's like a battleship in the vast ocean,
It is.
And it's green and lush sometimes.
It is. We're such a unique community and things, water. I mean, we talk water and we have all those things, and it's like we're very fortunate. It's the hardest water on the planet, but there's plenty of it. And,
I'm gonna put an RO system in today.
Matter of fact, that's how you got to live with one of those around here. You can't.
Yeah, just for the coffee water. Because I mean, if I continue drinking that water, I'm probably gonna get all that crap in.
You'll have enough definitely deposits and minerals in you for sure.
Did you know they have uranium in the water here?
It doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me at all, to be honest.
So that is the point where I said, you know what, I'm going to put in an RO system. I mean.
Yeah, get your water filtered, but we are blessed to have the amounts we have compared to other parts of the state. We don't have those restrictions you see in other parts of the state.
You mean water-wise?
Yeah, water-wise.
No, we have plenty of water.
We're blessed on that.
Actually, I did the math. And it's not an accident we ended up in Roswell. Roswell is one of the few places in the United States where we don't really have natural threats. We don't get tornadoes. We don't usually get little ones.
You're right. We're not known for those things.
Yeah,
the occasional one rolls through the area, but yeah.
No hurricanes, no earthquakes.
Nope.
We were thinking about going to Socorro, but they have that big, 100,000 cubic tons of lava sitting right under Socorro. And I thought to myself, am I going to be able to sleep in my bed thinking that a mile down? No.
Molten lava?
No, that's not what I want. So we kind of looked it up. We went a lot of places, and Roswell is actually the spot where you have the least amount of natural threats.
I never thought of it till you said it, but then you think about it, I was like, yeah, you're right. We don't. I mean, it's around us, and you see it.
We're literally in the middle of freaking nowhere.
Yeah, this is true.
And I love it, So whoever wants to do something with us has to drive an hour through the desert.
That's right.
So that's a natural filter somehow,
You know what? I never thought of it that way, but you're right. It absolutely is. So I just saw the time. They're about to kick me off the radio here. But please reach out if you would love to learn more about what Pecos Valley Public Services does. If you want to get more involved, please look for Pecos Valley Public Services on Facebook. You can go online. I just Google Pecos Valley Public Services. I think what is the actual website?
PecosValley.org.
PecosValley.org, which should be easy to remember around here. And come be a part of it. And you know what? We do appreciate you spending time with us. Love to have you come in from time to time for updates just to keep us.
Hey, just send us a welcome. We're on our way.
All right, we'll do. Jocelyn's my official keeper of things, so I'll keep her plugged in.
Yeah, she's doing great.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Nice to meet you, and thank you for doing what you're doing, and God bless. Keep doing it.
See you around.
We'll see you around. All right, it is 9:57. Let's do a quick break before I'm no longer part of today's show. Don't go away.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason. For stock markets worldwide, volatility has gone way up while shares are way down. Markets from Tokyo to Paris, London to New York are plunging on fears of a recession in the U.S., aggravated by Friday's dismal July employment report. Japan's Nikkei plunged more than 12%, its worst day since 1987. South Korean stocks sank almost 9%. In Europe, markets in London, Paris, and Frankfurt each dropped more than 2%. Investors are fleeing the big tech names that until recently powered the U.S. market higher. Apple fell more than 7%, and chipmaker NVIDIA tumbled 12.5%. Oil prices slipped with U.S. benchmark crude oil giving up $1.41 to $72.11 per barrel. Brent crude fell $1.35 to $75.46. With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason.
Who doesn't think the dentist is a big deal? I know what you're thinking. What will they find? How much will it hurt? What are my options? Hi, this is Dr. Sarah Usher, and I am here to tell you that here at Carabelli Dental, it is our job to put you at ease. With options like sedation dentistry, you can rest assured that regardless of what dental work you might need, you can get it done while resting comfortably. Call our office now and speak to our knowledgeable staff about setting up your new patient appointment.
Come see the team at Carabelli Dental or call 575-622-4455.
This is Dallas Cowboys football 2024.
Prescott in the gun, runs it up the middle.
Only heard here.
Skinny post, walk in, CeeDee Lamb.
All season.
Pressure up the middle. He's hit. He's sacked by Parsons.
Sunday afternoon, it's your Cowboys and the Los Angeles Rams. Live from SoFi Stadium on this Dallas Cowboys radio network station.
Pre-game at 1:30, kickoff at 2:25 on your official Dallas Cowboys station, 92.9 The Brand.
No static at all. Your new home for talk radio is KEND Roswell.
And we're closing in on 10 o'clock. If you missed any part of the show, I invite you to check it out at your leisure. Just log on to ksvptv.com, click on the Mornings with Mike Winters channel, and you'll find all of our videos there. Of course, we replayed a couple interviews earlier this morning. Of course, we had Michaela with Pecos Valley Public Services just a few minutes ago. We'll have that interview separated from the rest. Just a few. Have a great day. We'll talk to you bright and early tomorrow.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Wall Street is free falling as fear about a slowing U.S. economy worsen and set off another sell-off for financial markets around the world. Heritage Foundation public finance economist E.J. Antoni tells the Salem Radio Network.
Markets are essentially finally beginning to price in information that we've had, again, for quite some time. So this is going to take quite a bit of time in order for